Excellent connection.
Excellent connection.
Oh
Hey.
shit! Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that.
Professionalism. Alright, share.
Shh. Maybe.
Oh shit, it's gonna do the same thing. Oh,
Damn it.
Live now. Post. We have one concurrent viewer.
Does that count us?
Yeah, it does. We're so popular.
We are.
Alright, so what did I do with my phone? I'm keep an eye on the Facebook stuff from that. Alright.
Do you think we'll be killed if we put that picture of Bill Clinton in the dress up?
I don't know. Let's find out.
I'm sorry, it's just so funny.
This keyboard, look, Bill Chikaku.
Bill Chikaku.
I got a peck, man. Dude, this is a weird keyboard. Bill Clinton. What was the color of the dress?
Blue.
Blue dress.
Well, you gotta search blue dress painting, otherwise it's gonna come up with Monica Lewinsky stuff.
Blue waffle.
Blue what? Blue waffle. Oh, you typed that. I thought that autofilled. I was like, wait, what?
My mind went to something dirty. See, the problem is I got to get up here.
Do I want to know what a blue waffle is?
If you don't know,
I don't.
You
and
should
I'm not sure
Google
I
it.
want to. Those are famous last words. You should Google that. That's how Two Girls One Cup happened.
I did not even. That was horrible.
I did not watch it.
I watched it in its entirety because I have this wonderful curiosity.
I have wonderful curiosity too. I'm shocked I haven't seen it. I just really once I was told what was in it, I'm just like, curiosity's gone.
Curiosity killed the bogey.
No, it didn't kill me because I was like, fuck that.
Probably shouldn't say your last name.
Fuck it.
There he is. That, my friends, is our ex-president. This
Former.
feedback is killing me. Former president.
So fun fact about this, I believe that painting, the original of that painting, was hanging in Jeffrey Epstein's house. On the island, not his house ever on the. That right there is, if that's true, and I believe it was on Joe Rogan's podcast. I heard that it was hanging in that house. I know it's Jeffrey Epstein's painting, and he made the point. He said that thing's hanging in your house, and you have an ex-president come into that house. That is the ultimate symbol of I have you by the nuts. Like, you can't touch me.
Well, he didn't want to touch him.
You know
He's
what
too
I mean,
old.
though. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
That's the definition of untouchable, is when you can have a painting like that of an ex-president hanging in your house, and that ex-president comes to your house, and you're just like, and he probably made him look at it.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, I mean,
Easily.
I'd be like, yeah, that's right. I mean, like, that's a really careless thing to say, but like, I mean, that just the whole Epstein thing, man.
I can't stop looking at it.
I know. Well, I mean, he is pointing right at you.
I've lost my entire train of thought. I can't even speak now.
It's hard to think when you're looking at that, and I mean, especially with the red shoes.
He's not pointing at you. He's pointing to me.
No, I think that's one of those paintings where it's pointing to wherever you're at.
No, he's pointing to me.
Well, yeah, because you angled the TV. It looks like he's pointing at me.
Oh.
And I have to believe that's from a photograph.
Oh yeah. Well, I wouldn't say photograph. I mean,
well, yeah,
maybe just
like,
memory.
I don't think he posed for it or anything.
Epstein's standing right there, and he goes, "Hey, you know what? Stand right there, or sit right there in your dress.
Sit right there. Put this dress on. Put these heels on." And he's probably like, "Well, man, I don't really know if I should do this. Why not?" And he's like, "Well, the red heels don't really go with the blue dress. Shouldn't they be a little bit more tasteful?" And he's like, "Shut the hell up. Give me the chair." Okay, man, chill out.
Give me the cocaine.
Give me the cocaine. You got any more of that cocaine? Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
But anyway, Epstein.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh.
That's why I'm like I'm mad because I'm blanking here because I can't.
Oh, well, I didn't know we were live. Like, because we had
Oh
talking
yeah,
points.
yeah. We got.
I'd say just leave Clinton right there for now. Just to unnerve. Just to unnerve some people in the audience.
I still can't just I can't handle that.
That's beyond creepy. Like, that's. I have to believe that at some point Bill Clinton wore a blue dress.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have to. It just seems so obvious.
I mean, with his wife having bigger genitalia than him, she made him.
I wouldn't go in there, but
I went there. All right, what do we got?
Oh, well, I thought we talked about first we were going to say kind of like what we wanted to happen, but then what we think we're going to happen as far as the election goes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to hear your opinion on that.
Well, obviously I don't think Biden's going to win because the thing is he just lost I'm pretty sure he just lost support of the radical left because
well, I don't know about that because you got the radical left is first and foremost anti-Trump.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, I know. Oh, I'm not going to vote for him.
See, I think it comes down to how they actually handle the voting. If they allow the
mail-in ballots.
Well, not even mail-in, because there's a distinction I want to draw later. Because the whole mail-in ballots thing is they're looking at it wrong. If they do mass mail-in, like where they mail your ballot to you and then you send it in using census data or whatever, I think they're going to use census data, or they're probably going to use. Well, they can't use tax information, so it's probably going to be census data, which means it's going to be old.
Yeah, that's not good.
Problem. I think that might be why they're racing to get the census done, and they've extended it.
Yeah, and those racist questions on there.
Well, I mean, because here's what it comes down to, in my opinion. So, especially if this is an example of the Democrats using COVID as an opportunity, because they know they looked at the last election, and they know that voter turnout was definitely not in their favor. Now, I think it's going to spike. I think it was going to spike this election because of the anti-Trump sentiment, but then COVID happened. And if you look at it, it's pretty obvious that people on the left are more cautious about COVID than people on the right, statistically.
Obviously. Yeah, I know.
But people on the right are, and this isn't a blanket statement, but people on the right tend to be very almost militant about making sure they get out to the polls and vote. And this is every election, whether there's a Republican incumbent or not. Like, every Republican I've ever met is always like, they've got a game plan for election day. It's like, I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock because I still have to work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock and be there at the polls and get my voting done, and then they go off on their merry way. I don't think I've ever heard a Republican complain about it. It's like, oh, the lines of the polls were so long, and I just left. I don't think I've ever heard a Republican say that.
No.
Because generally speaking, they're like, okay, we're going to get there before they open, and then we're going to wait at the door, because that's what I do. I don't vote Republican necessarily, but...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Straight ticket voters, I think they're just dumb. You know what I mean? Like, straight Republican or straight Democrat.
Without doing any research at all.
Personal policy.
I can believe that somebody's majority Republican, but like you said, just straight ticket, just getting in there and being like, all Democrat, all Republican.
That's what I'm saying. It's like this year, I've actually been advocating for Donald Rainwater for Indiana.
See, I have too.
You know, because he's libertarian.
Partially
but,
because the libertarian candidate, his last name is Rainwater. That's
yeah, it's hilarious. Well, it's not hilarious. It's like
a great fiction writer cannot come up with that.
He's gonna save Indiana with rainwater.
Well, that and the running joke has always been, it's like, well, the government won't even let you collect rainwater.
Well, he's also got big support because of the I think it's complete legalization of marijuana in Indiana.
That's what he's shooting for. That's what the libertarians have been shooting for the longest time.
But I saw a sign in the yard today. It was for medical use, and I was like, that's fine with me too. But I would rather be completely legal because get rid of the stipulations. It's insane.
Well, my whole thing with the medical, if he's actually going for medical, I think that is more like a realistic concession on the Libertarian Party. Is like, hey, listen, and I've heard people say that Indiana is going to be the last state to legalize marijuana. No, not even close.
No.
That's going to be Alabama.
They're so deep in the hills right now.
Yeah, but no, Indiana won't be the last. But I was shocked when Missouri legalized medical.
I didn't know they did.
Yeah, not a lot of people did. I think it was Missouri. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Missouri. I thought they'd legalize recreational. I guess I misread it. But Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan was one.
Recreational.
That's insane. Just a state up.
Well, but I think that has directly to do with Canada because Canada legalized recreational marijuana.
Oh, how long ago?
I think that was in 2018.
Oh.
I don't think it took effect immediately, but I'm pretty sure it was 2018. That's another thing I want to do on the podcast. I'm going to spew out a bunch of shit I may or may not be right about. So at the beginning of the next one, I'll report back.
Disclaimer. I did say we do not know what we're talking about. Just a little bit.
Experts. We just read some stuff every now and again.
So, I mean, if you want to hang out, see our pretty faces and whatnot, have at it.
No returns, no refunds.
I gotta take down the headphones. I can't handle my my feedback on my. I can hear you just fine.
Well, that's all that matters.
That is all that matters. And it's so much quieter in here with those headphones on. I'm fucking burning up.
Yeah, it is a little warm around the ears, but anyway, we're gonna get off track a lot.
It's gonna happen.
But anyway, so you're supporting Rainwater.
Indeed.
You're probably like me, and you're not really sure what direction you're leaning for president quite yet. You know where you're not going, but you don't know where you're going.
Well, I will say though, on the Libertarian side, and I know you were a supporter there for a little bit. I don't know if you still are. Jo Jorgensen. I think she's brilliant. I think she's really smart. But like I said, I have my convictions, just like everyone else has their own personal convictions.
See, my issue with Jorgensen isn't convictions, because I identify with, I would say, and probably less so now, a little bit more. I was staunch libertarian, but another disclaimer, I'm going to be quoting Jordan Peterson a lot.
Yeah, I love Jordan Peterson.
I love that guy. But anyway, I read his book, and if you haven't, it's amazing. You really
I have not, and I've heard.
12 Rules for Life, that one. I want to read Maps of Meaning, but I don't have that one yet. 12 Rules for Life is a lot shorter. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. See,
this is not paid promotion. Promotion.
Yeah, we're not corporate sellouts. But you know what is awesome? The
Dr.
crisp,
Pepper.
refreshing taste of Dr. Pepper.
What happened to our video?
Ah, shit. Coke pulled the funding.
It died on us. All right, so just so you know, people, welcome to the Absolute Just podcast. That is only voice.
Welcome to the audio-only version.
So that was a fun few minutes of a video, but we're going to still talk.
Continue. We've now entered the NPR portion of the broadcast. Tonight on Fresh Air, we will discuss mowing grass, genocide, or landscaping. We'll let you decide.
Okay, our sponsors. Waves and Rocks. Any DBZ fans out there? Wait until the fish jumps.
It's over.
It's over.
Have you watched DBZ Abridged yet?
I've watched the first episode.
I was going to say, I know you had to because you did the Waves and Rocks reference.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did they abridge that?
Yeah, that's a joke with them.
Waves and even in the anime?
Did they do that in the anime?
Yeah, you don't remember? It was the Hercule movie. Remember? I, Hercule Satan, single-handedly beat Cell.
So, funny story about I do remember that, and they do spoof that in DBZ Abridged. However, as an extra, I forget which set. I think it was the Blu-ray release. They did a deleted scene where they had the guys from Team 4-Star do the voices for that Hercule movie. It is so damn funny. Presented by Heat-Tap.
You guys like the monkey?
Hopefully.
Oh, they can't. Well, technically, I mean, I still have control of that, so.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going? I need to.
Yeah, we've already gone way off the rails here.
Yeah, we'll get back there.
Oh, I just meant I meant conversationally.
Yeah.
But that's why people tune in. And by people, I mean all one of you.
Yeah.
I mean, for real, dude. It's Saturday night. You have nothing better to do.
That's the thing. It's Saturday, and everyone else is getting drunk, and we're sitting in the garage talking.
Because we have things to say. Shit. Back to Joe Jorgensen.
Okay, yeah. We really got off the rails there.
My whole thing with that, and I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm on the fence, but I'm still thinking. I just don't, because when Gary Johnson ran, I liked Gary Johnson, and I really liked Bill Weld. I kind of wish it had been Weld running for president and Johnson running for vice president. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something. It's not even that I dislike Joe. It's just nothing pops out to me that says, "Oh, I really, really like her." It's a likability thing,
right? But in her on her behalf, she, just like everyone says, let her speak. You haven't.
Well,
really,
I agree with that. Yeah.
She has like no.
Oh, she's got no platform.
No, exactly, no platform, and that's the thing about Rainwater. I mean, he's got a big following on Facebook, but the thing is, he also they raised like, I want to say, I think like $50,000 in 3 days for radio ads and whatnot for him, and TV spots.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot for Rainwater. I've probably seen more for Rainwater than Jorgensen.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
And
but I will say, though, thanks to the efforts of Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, the Libertarian Party is now on all 50 ballots.
As it should. I mean,
well, it should, but you have to meet requirements to get on the ballot, and I understand that.
When was Libertarian first introduced into the United States? Do you know?
Oh shit! Hang on. I know.
Well,
I've had the answer before.
We have this wonderful thing here called Google.
Oh yeah.
Definitely need a better.
I know it's later.
Keyboard.
I think it was a result of the Vietnam War. Directly. I mean, that's not the only reason. But
you know what? I'm gonna let you look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
You'll probably end up getting it quicker. We're going back to Bill.
See here. The first Libertarian National Convention was held in 1972.
1972. So is that when it was established, or that was the first convention?
It says that's when the first convention.
I feel like I read something that said 1967, and I'm totally pulling that out of my ass, but it might be true.
Yeah, it doesn't really say a founding. Oh no, founded 1971.
Oh damn, I was wrong.
Although now we're on the subject, god damn, he does not. Spike Cohen does not look like a Spike. He looks like a Randall.
From the movie Monsters Inc. Randall, a little fucking slimy bastard. Limey bastard.
Limey bastard. No, but I mean. I was excited because I'm like, all right, a libertarian's name is Spike. Like, that's awesome. Because for those who don't know, is it a porcupine? I think it's a porcupine or a hedgehog. It's one of the two. That's their little animal mascot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I only know names. I don't know really much about the Libertarian Party.
I believe it's a porcupine. It's a porcupine. Yeah, it is a porcupine. Because it's got that whole, like, I'll stick you, but leave me alone or I'll stick you thing, which I thought was massively appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, they're definitely for personal rights, and
obnoxiously so.
And I mean, rightfully so. Everybody should be. I mean, that's kind of what the country was founded upon.
Well, I mean, funny how that.
I mean, we did, start a revolution for a 2% tax, right? And now we're at what are we at? Like 37? I mean,
I think at the highest level.
I know. I'm talking like I think average tax in the country is like. What do you say? Like,
I think it's still probably for the average as far as everybody. I think it's still probably about 15-18%.
Yeah, which isn't bad, but still, I mean.
Well, I think the issue in this country isn't so much the tax rate; it's the stewardship of the tax money that people have a problem with.
Oh yeah,
that's certainly what I have a problem with. I mean, I think arguably we are taxed too much, but I think that sentiment comes from the fact that they get all this money and then it's never enough because they always find ways to spend it so much so that they have to print artificial. It's not fake money, but they have to inflate. They have to create currency to cover the debts, and then they borrow massive amounts. Like people don't get it. Like that's a lot of zeros.
Yeah,
And they're in front of the decimal point.
they just act like it's nothing, and I'm like, you guys
Well, it's
don't
like Dave
realize.
Ramsey always says, it's like people get into debt because they spend money like Congress.
Oh yeah, and that's a funny thing is that those people they have no problem writing up these bills and spending, but yet
No, 'cause it's not their money.
Exactly.
It's not their money, and it's not tangible. Because it's like, okay, and that's one of the problem. Like, I use cards. I hardly carry cash, but I will say, spending $20 in cash is probably like harder on the brain than spending $100 with a debit card.
Well, absolutely, and because a lot of people nowadays, they, like you said, they use a card, so everything's done for them. We're literally turning into the movie Idiocracy.
Go away, Peyton.
You put some Gatorade on it.
I forgot about.
Why aren't the flowers growing? The crops are not growing. The Gatorade has electrolytes. I can't even remember a freaking single accent from that movie or nothing. I just
That's
remember the words.
dude we need for president.
The Terry Crews.
Yeah.
That shit was funny, man. Like Terry Crews, he's underrated.
Oh,
I know he's popular. He's popular, but he's definitely
like,
underrated.
When they remade The Longest Yard, he was one of. I mean, there were a lot of highlights in that movie. But
That was such a good movie.
Cheeseburger Eddie.
Adam Sandler's Longest Yard, right? Yeah, that was a fantastic
Nothing
movie.
a little quarter pounder won't fix. With cheese on it.
Cheese on it?
With cheese on it.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
And
I
then
can't
Joey
remember.
Diaz is underrated in that movie too. He has one of the best lines in the movie when he gets his clock. Can of corn.
I love Joey Diaz.
Can of corn.
His podcast with not his podcast, but Joey Diaz on Joe Rogan's podcast.
He's always hilarious.
Oh, it's phenomenal,
Love
man.
the way he talks to him.
Oh, well, because the thing is, he's just talking to Joe like he's just one of his brothers, and he's known him for like 40 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's known him, but he's just like, this thing, and I don't really know. I can't really think of how Joey Diaz sounds, but I mean,
I love he's like, Joe.
There you
listen,
go.
Joe, let me tell you something.
Come here. Just the other day, I was over there smoking a reefer, and this guy came out. And he was like, you know what, you motherfucker?
He said, what the fuck are you
Let me hit that.
Yeah,
he's definitely the biggest pot advocate I've ever seen. Joey Diaz. Joe Rogan doesn't even come close to Diaz.
That's borderline.
Joe Rogan is for a fucking DMT more than anything else. He's like, open your mind, talk to aliens.
I love the Joe Rogan memes. It's like it'll list a problem above, and then down below it's got a picture of Joe in his pocket. He's like, have you tried DMT?
Have you tried elk meat? I swear to God, if you haven't tried elk meat yet, it's gonna cure your cancer.
He made me want to try elk meat.
I can't do it. I don't do game meat. Like I can't handle it. Like
Have you ever had bison?
Oh,
I feel like this is a conversation I have on Joe's podcast.
I have not had bison. The only thing
It's really good.
I've had is deer, and my wife made some deer chili one time, and I was like, babe, there's something wrong with this chili. I was like, the meat is spoiled.
So
she's like, it's deer. I was like, you trying to kill me?
Venison's one of those meats though. Venison's tricky because you have to
cook it right. Yeah.
Well, you have to prep it right too.
That's right.
Prep it right, and you have to and you got to season it right.
Someone said buttermilk or like something like that.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
And I was like,
because I've had deer meat that was amazing, and I've had deer meat that tasted like absolute garbage. It's all in the prep and the cooking. I imagine elk's the same way, but the way he describes elk meat, I want to just be like that could be an awesome pre-workout if that's accurate.
But I mean, do they even sell elk meat at Kroger or Walmart? Because we have nothing around here.
Walmart, but I was looking. It took me forever to find bison meat because they sell it at Whole Foods.
Oh yeah, that's where I figured. And you being up in
couldn't find
Fishers
elk meat, though.
Oh, probably not.
I'm sure you can order it.
Well, you could probably call up some local butchers.
Maybe, I don't know.
I imagine they
there's
might.
not a lot of elk around here, but a buddy of mine goes out and hunts big game all the time. And I asked him. He said he normally goes elk hunting, but he hasn't for a couple years. He just got back from a bear hunting trip though.
Bear hunting?
Yeah. He went to
where? Did he hunt bear?
It was either Wisconsin or Minnesota.
It's a nightmare. Wisconsin?
It was Wisconsin or Minnesota. I cannot remember.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, those things like literally can tear your face off with just like a swipe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not going to get right up next to it.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, I was just watching this video not too long ago, and there was this guy. A bear was coming up on him, and I don't know if he was Chinese or whatnot, but his accent cracked me up, man. Because the bear just comes up on him, he's just like, and he stands up, and because that's what you're supposed to do with bears. He's like, ah, ah, and the bear just keeps coming down, and he's like, ah, ah. And
he should have gone Bruce Lee on him,
dude. He had no choice. And all of a sudden, you just see the fucking camera hit the ground, and then all of a sudden, you just see him grab the camera, and he's running around. He's like, oh, fucking bear, oh man, over there, oh goddamn. And I was like, what the fuck did he just say? There was nothing intelligible in there whatsoever. But it was the funniest thing ever.
That reminds me of one of the coolest videos I ever. Well, it's not cool. It's one of the legitimately scariest videos I've ever seen. It was a cliff diver. I think it was in Australia, and he's wearing a GoPro, and he jumps into the water, right? And he hits the water, and I think he turns a little bit, and there's a fucking great white shark like right there. Like within 10 feet, like it's because GoPros don't have a zoom function, so I mean.
No, my god.
He turned, and
they have the wide angle, but still, it's like.
Well, it's kind of funny because he gets away. So spoiler alert, he gets away. So in this respect, it's kind of funny because he hits the water and he turns. You just hear.
He still had to change his pants though, even in the water.
Hell yeah, and I don't blame him one bit.
You got brown stain in pants, man.
There's a shark down there, dude. And plus, the sharks that hang out around Australia are pretty big. If you watch Shark Week, you'll know that because
I never could get into that. Like
really?
Everybody was
Shark
all
Week's
for that.
Awesome.
I know. Like I remember.
Shark Week is awesome.
2000. Oh shit. Dad joke. No. But what was it? 2008 when Step Brothers came out, and he's like, "Oh, nothing. I was just watching Shark Week," and I'm just like, "What's that?" And everybody, yeah, the person I was watching, they're like, "You're kidding, right?" And I was like, "No." I was like,
"What?" Well, maybe though, because for a while there, Shark Week was getting really lame. I still like when they first started doing it, like back in the late '90s. That's when it was the best. Although it's gotten better.
How long have they been doing that?
Oh God, they've been doing it for a while. I can remember being in middle school, and that was when I first found out about it. They might have been doing it before then.
Everybody was all about that
because it was really, really good. And then it got weird. Then it got super weird, where they started doing all these shows like, "Is Megalodon still alive?" It's like, no, because of a giant.
I think you'd fucking know.
Yeah, I think we would know, and they'd be like, it's kind of like the shows where like Finding Bigfoot, where it's like,
oh yeah,
it's like like they're not gonna find Bigfoot.
I have no doubt in my mind there are creatures that are probably something like that, but are they like actual humanoids? No, but I mean, you got to think like a skinnier bear, full of hair. I don't know, fucking, someone saw out the corner of their eye and it scared the shit out of them. They ran. It's just a different species of a bear or something like that, or
I'm sure people think
something.
They found a Sasquatch.
I don't know, dude. Some of those videos are pretty convincing, but I'm not talking like those ones where it's like, oh, it looks like a guy running around in a fucking suit. I'm talking the ones like, I don't know, at night or something like that,
Joe
where you can't tell either. So I'm
Joe
actually
Rogan has a hilarious bit on his Rocky Mountain High special about guys that are out looking for Bigfoot. And he's like, could you imagine, like, this is the level of conspiracy. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, the level of conspiracy is like, well, maybe they bought that Sasquatch suit to go make a hoax, and then they actually encountered a Sasquatch. And then he does this whole bit where like the dude's dressing up in a female Sasquatch suit, and then he ends up getting fucked by an actual Sasquatch. And he's like, "What do I do? Do I record? Do I help him?"
Was that the Netflix special?
No, it was Rocky Mountain High.
You said that. For some reason, I was just thinking that was on Netflix. That's the only one I've seen of him is on Netflix, even though I watch his podcast religiously.
Yeah, no, his Netflix specials are really good.
The funny thing is, I didn't know he was a comedian.
I didn't for the longest time either.
Fear Factor, that was it.
I know, I knew him as the Fear Factor guy.
And then podcasts, everybody's like, oh, I listen to Joe Rogan 24/7. I'm like, who the fuck's Joe Rogan? Oh yeah, that guy.
I found his podcast by accident, and I want to say, I'm probably wrong because it was so long ago. I want to say it was a Jordan Peterson video. Mm-hmm. No, I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Oh, I love Ben.
I think that's how I like Ben, but I have my issues with it.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, he's definitely that guy that says like, nope, I'm right. But the thing is,
It's
though,
hard to argue with him.
he can back it up. That's the problem.
Most of the time. Most of the time.
And
oh yeah, we were
talking about Joe Jorgensen, and we were talking about Bill Weld and whatnot, and we got to Bigfoot.
So fun.
So do you see that bird over there?
There's gonna be a lot of moments like this. But fun fact about Bill Weld that this is what made me really, really like him. I liked him a lot before, but what I really was like, that man would make a damn good president, is he was calling out, I want to say it was, I'm pretty sure it was Hillary Clinton. He was calling her out on not being anti-gay marriage, but not vocally supporting gay marriage. And then he was like, I was supportive of gay marriage on a legislative level, like pushing legislation in 1992.
And she was against it, and then
until like 2016.
Yeah, and she like was vocal about it. I'm not gonna say vocal. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that she's had conversation. Exactly.
When asked, and I believe, and again, this isn't a direct quote, but I believe her words were, when asked about it, I believe she said, I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, which, I mean, I wouldn't say is inflammatory, but for a Democrat,
yeah, that's
in post 2005 especially. Or post 2008 especially.
Yeah, I would say it. I'm not gonna say it went downhill because obviously it's just a change of the times and generations and whatnot. But the younger generation, they're wild. I mean, I know we're part of a younger generation, but I'm talking younger than us.
I don't claim my millennial status.
Oh, I don't have a problem with the millennials. It's the what is it? The Generation Z. Gen Z. They're nuts. All these freaking. All right, I'm getting off the subject again. Anyway, so Generation Z is nuts. Like, I mean, all these little things they had coming out. What was it? The COVID parties.
Are those Gen Z though?
I want to say it was no, actually
that sounds like some
millennials. That sounds dumbass like millennials.
That sounds like some, but here's the thing, for those of you that are
trying to make millennials sound better.
Those of you that are, as Eliza Schlesinger would put it, elder millennials.
Yes.
If you remember back in the day, or back in the dizzy.
Oh shit.
As they used to say.
Yeah.
We elder millennials will remember it.
Yeah, we park it like it's hot.
Anyway, and this is why I don't claim my millennial status. I have a reason, because when that first happened, there was a now it's considered a subgroup, but before it was a distinct generation difference, and in Mortal Kombat this would matter. But it went Generation X to Generation Y, and then to millennials. But Generation Y got swallowed up into the millennial umbrella.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can look that. Or Cenk Uygur would say, Google it.
I hate him. I don't really hate too many people. I don't hate him. He is dumb. I don't like his nephew either.
Hassan Piker.
Man, like seriously, when he came out and said that about Dan Crenshaw, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's like, look, I understand he's passionate, whatever. But the thing is,
there's passionate, and then there's not thinking at all.
He called. What was that? What was that fighter?
Mujahideen.
Mujahideen. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
He called him a brave soldier, and I fucked Dan Crenshaw, and I'm like, seriously, dude.
First of all, I would have loved to see somebody try to do that to Dan Crenshaw.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he blew him to bits.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And second, although I did like Dan's response to that, which I like Dan's response to.
It was classy. It was very classy.
Well, I especially liked his response to the whole Pete. I'm blanking on his name. The comedian Pete. The guy on SNL. I'm totally spacing his last
Pete?
name. Yeah.
I think I know Pete Davidson.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's got that new show now, which looks terrible, but.
I like Pete Davidson. What did he say?
I don't at all. I don't think he's funny at all.
He's I've never watched him on SNL. I stopped watching SNL and not because of Trump, but like that's all it was. You know, and it got really boring.
I stopped watching SNL a long time ago, with the exception of a handful of hosts, because they started doing this. I'd really say it was when Tina Fey started taking over the main. I know there are multiple writers, but I think she was the head writer.
I didn't know that.
No, I don't think she is anymore. But that's
No,
what
I didn't know that period.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that there was a bunch of different writers.
Oh yeah, they have writers on staff.
I knew they had writers, but like I didn't. I thought they had the same ones forever. That must be why the
Well, people die.
Yeah, I know, right? Will Ferrell age, that was probably the best, I think.
Well, but my issue with their humor ended up. My main issue is because they stopped adhering to the rule of three of comedy. They just started beating the same joke over and over and over, and it's not funny.
Yep, and just like I agree with what you're saying, but like back to the Trump thing, because Dana Carvey, what he said if you're gonna impersonate someone, it's because you actually like them.
Yeah,
you don't impersonate someone to tear them down.
Yeah,
you impersonate them because you like them.
Form of flattery.
Yeah, and it's like I get it. Throw jokes. It is funny. I mean,
yeah,
Trump definitely makes himself the butt of many jokes, and
I don't think he would dispute that though.
No, and the thing is that's the thing that dude's got such tough skin, thick skin because of all the stuff he's gone through.
Like he's definitely got an ego, but I don't think it's quite as bad as the left would have you believe, because we have to remember, this is a guy who was involved in a hair versus hair match at WrestleMania, and we also have to remember this is a guy who basically makes fun of himself in multiple movies.
Yeah.
Home Alone 2 not being the least. And then The Little Rascals, he plays the rich kid's dad, and literally says,
"Oh, I forgot about that."
He's like, "Waldo, you're the best son money can buy." Like he's totally okay with making fun of himself.
Kofefe, or how do you say that? Kofifi.
I forgot about that.
That stuff was that was genius. Like I mean, if people are gonna take everything everyone says, and I'm not just talking about Trump, I'm talking to everybody. It's like, hell, the Joe Biden and Trump thing. Everybody was trying to call Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, and that he's got dementia. And obviously during the debate, he showed up, and he was awake. Now, did he say anything that was like astonishing? Not really.
No,
he was saying the same old tired stuff.
And I think that was my biggest problem with him, was because it was borderline predictable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's a racist. He's a white nationalist. He's a white supremacist, and it's like,
and my biggest problem with that comment, because I mean, it's a stretch, but I mean, if you frame that right, you can make a point.
Yeah.
But it came out of nowhere, and you would think that after what happened between him and Harris, with Biden and Harris on the debate stage, that he would not want to call somebody a racist on a debate.
No.
Like you would think.
And that's his VP.
And my
gosh.
mouth dropped open when that happened, because I was watching that live.
The debate or the VP?
No, not the VP. I mean the Democratic primary debate, where Kamala Harris literally said Joe Biden is a racist. I was like, wow.
Yeah. What did he say that one thing? And I'm pretty sure this was taken out of context, and he didn't say what he meant, because like if you listen to that dude, he has to say something twice or three times to get his point across.
Well, I was going to bring this up later, but I'll tell you what, one of the
or poor kids are just the same as white kids, or just as good as white kids.
He said
poor kids.
Poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
That's right. Yeah.
But this is also the same guy that was speaking about Mitt Romney. He told a crowd of predominantly African American voters that they were going to put y'all back in chains. And you can Google that. There's video.
Yeah. What do you call that? Pandering.
Oh, that's not even pandering. That's just blatant. That's borderline inciting.
Yeah, and that's a thing about the left.
Oh,
they're definitely
insiders.
And
plus the fact too,
insiders of violence.
That's an example too of where it's like, do you really want to be careful who you're calling racist?
Yeah.
Because you're basically telling a crowd of people that because of the color of their skin, that they can or cannot do something, and you're getting, and plus you're insinuating that they're dumb enough to believe what you're saying, which is preposterous. I think Ben Shapiro actually said it's like Mitt Romney, the cleanest person ever. It's like, I'm sorry, if any Republican presidential nominee was going to enslave anyone, Mitt Romney would be my last guess. I mean,
I don't like. I know Republicans have a, they were very quiet before this last election, 2016. Republicans were always very silent about things. Like, yeah, they would pop up every now and then, but it was always the Democratic side that was always louder, and that's why they well.
As far as what? As far as race is concerned?
No, as far as just their entire demeanor, their entire platform demeanor, like they were just quieter, more reserved. That's why they're called conservatives. That's what I was getting at. But they just, it's not turning into that now. Now it's turned into a yelling match between all parties. And I think if, what we were talking about earlier with the libertarians, I think if they played their cards right, they could easily sway everything. But
I think not this election.
No, hell no.
So this is so cut and dry, left versus right. The libertarians.
Don't forget, there's a center, people.
Well, and I think I always say, and it's usually when I'm introducing people to libertarianism, is I always say I honestly believe that at least 80% of the population is actually libertarian. They just don't know it.
Yeah, because their views, and a lot of them they stay in center. They don't care either way as long as it doesn't affect their personal.
Well, there's the key. As long as it doesn't affect me personally.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of things, or at least there's a perception that a lot of things do affect you personally. But let's be real. How much realistically does a lot of what I take that back. A lot of what the federal government does directly affect you now, but it's not supposed to be that way. But they've got their hands in everything. The fact that somebody in Washington, D.C. actually helps determine what some 8-year-old kid in Wyoming learns in elementary school, it's just preposterous.
But I agree with that completely. The Department of Education, honestly,
and they don't even do it well.
They should just. I know this sounds radical, but it should just be abolished.
It's not that radical, especially when you want to talk about college debt. I mean,
it's insane.
Well, if you inject money into any industry, guess what happens? Prices go up. And when you spend the better part of a decade, because shoot, I can remember when we were in school, probably from at least 6th grade and up, we were told, if you don't go to college, you will do nothing.
That's the thing. That's what irritates the shit out of me, is because this is where a lot of that debt incurs from, is because of because of those lies.
Well, you want to know why millennials can't buy homes? I mean, by and large, that's it. And a really robust and competitive real estate market in most places in the country. But, I mean,
FHA loans are actually really easy to get. Like, was your first home, was it FHA?
Actually, no, it was conventional.
You lucky bastard.
I know, I really was lucky.
Good for you. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just me borrowing, though. It was two of us.
Well, absolutely. But, I mean, there was two of us. We were working.
I was surprised that we got conventional.
We were FHA. How much did you put down? 20?
Only
They have conventional loans nowadays, 4, 5, and 10%. But
I think we put 5% down.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So we have the FHA, which the FHA, honestly, I think is a good program.
Well, the only problem that I had with FHA, and this is why we elected to go conventional, even though it was a higher down payment, is with an FHA loan, your mortgage insurance never falls off.
Unless you get to 80 to 20% loan to rate value, oh my gosh, 80 to 20%. If you have 20% paid in on your home of what it's worth,
that's conventional.
I know, but hold on a second. Yeah, that's the thing. If you have 20% of what's paid and then you go to refinance with someone, you get that knocked off. You don't.
Well, they probably refinance you with a conventional loan.
Yeah, and did you know if you have an FHA loan and you go to sell your house with an FHA loan, you have to sell to another FHA borrower?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I'm going to say I feel like I'm about a good 95% on that, because I'm pretty sure that's what our realtor explain to us.
Well, and I will tell you,
She was very knowledgeable.
And I will tell you this from firsthand experience. Nobody really knows.
No, no,
Nobody really knows.
no.
Because I've been told so many things by so many different people in that industry. Nobody knows.
The
It's kind of like taxes. Like, you can call the IRS
God.
or the Department of Revenue and talk to 6 different people and get 6 different answers.
yeah, yeah, and just be like, and you're even more confused after all the calls.
I had an accountant once tell me that when dealing with the Department of Revenue, a don't ask, don't tell policy is the best.
Sounds like
And
the military.
Well, no, and I believe it based on my dealings with the Department of Revenue. I might probably not, because I don't think they oversee anything. I've had employees from the Department of Revenue like give me information that's like, you're better off to just not report it. I'm like, really?
Yeah, and that's where all these loopholes and whatnot come from, and all these businesses take advantage of. Which, honestly, if it's written up that way, no one should be able to talk shit about you. That's just the way it happens.
That's the point I'm going to bring up. When we So anyway, let's get back on topic. So what do you think's going to happen though?
What, election-wise?
Yeah, election-wise.
Oh, Trump's going to win. Easily. I've got, no names, but I've got a lot of buddies that are saying they're probably going to end up voting for him. And then I see a lot of signs, and everyone's like, oh, just because you see a sign. Yeah, but the thing is, with the state of the country, and yeah, there are Republican cities right now that are, having issues too, like Portland and.
Is Portland a Republican city?
No, hell no.
I was gonna say.
I'm just comparing, but the thing
you're
is,
saying
they're
problems like
well, they're not as bad. But the thing is, though, these are Democrat cities.
Yeah,
and
for the most part.
For the most part, I mean.
Well, I remember Biden brought up Fort Worth, but I'm like, yeah, but Texas is having a massive exodus of people that are leaving Democrat-run states and cities and moving to Texas.
Yeah, and
I mean, tons of people.
Joe Rogan.
Ben Shapiro's leaving.
He's not going to Texas though.
Yeah, he's going to Nashville.
He's going to Nashville, man. It's like, dude.
I totally get it though.
No, I get it, but it's like it gets cold too.
Well, that's not the issue. Nashville.
He's a small white guy. He needs sun.
He'll get a coat. He'll be fine.
He'll have those little hand warmers in his pockets.
He would make the joke. He'd have a heater in his yarmulke. He'll be fine.
Oh my god, he wears that thing 24/7.
Well, he's Orthodox. He's supposed to.
Oh, 24/7?
I think outside the home.
I know nothing of the religion.
We're not Jewish. I don't know. So if you're Jewish and you can set us straight, I believe it's outside the home.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
I believe it's outside the home.
Okay.
I could be totally wrong on that, but I believe it's outside the home.
I have no idea. But anyway,
I know it's certainly in a synagogue or any holy place, but I believe for Orthodox Jews it is anytime outside the home.
But getting back to
yeah, we're really good at this topic.
Getting back to the 2020 status, definitely, I definitely believe Trump, as long as these mail-in ballots, which a lot of people don't know, there's been several states that have actually had mail-in ballots for years.
Well, and this is what.
And I'm not talking. What's the other thing that we have? Absentee ballots. They are not the same.
No,
absentee ballots and mail-in ballots are not the same.
No, one you have to request.
One you send in something,
yes,
and then they send you something back, and you send it back in.
Yeah.
This is they just mass mail things out.
Well, and that's the important distinction I wanted to draw. Is everybody keeps throwing around the term mail-in voting, and they're talking about two different things. What the Democrats want to do, at least as far as I can tell, is they want to have a system set up where everyone gets mailed a ballot without requesting it, and then they send it in. Now, here's the point I was going to make earlier, and I'll finish it now. Conservatives are going to go to the polls. I mean, they're going to, regardless of what happens.
Death and taxes.
A lot of liberals, especially the younger generation, at least in elections past, just they cannot be bothered. It's such a chore, man. Or like, I hear it all the time, my vote doesn't count, man. It's like, well, that's how you get a President Trump. Or that's part of how you get a President Trump.
Yep.
That's also the opposite reason is how you got a President Obama in his first term, because there was a record amount of young people, most of whom were liberal, that actually went out and got to the polls.
There's a lot of conservatives vote for him too, though.
Yeah. I mean,
not a lot.
Well,
Overwhelming amount.
There's always overlap. But I remember I was shocked Indiana went Indiana went purple that year. No, Indiana went blue that year. They went purple the next year. They were fairly split. But in 2008, Indiana went blue, if I remember correctly.
I didn't even really start like dabbing into politics until like 2016.
I'm pretty sure. I'll check that. That'll be for next time. So anybody who wants to yell at me if I'm wrong,
Yell at them in the comments.
I'm pretty sure they went blue. Speaking of which, that's how I knew Trump was going to win the election. Not because of Indiana, but because of...
I really didn't think he was going to win against Hillary.
I didn't until he took Florida.
Well, I'm not talking like during the
Like
count
when they were
up.
actually
Yeah,
counting the
yeah, when
votes.
they were counting them up and whatnot. I'm talking
I
period.
s-
I didn't think he was
I
going to win against
suspected.
Hillary.
I knew he could. I don't necessarily think he would. But when he took Florida, I'll never forget. I looked at the TV and saw Florida go red, and I went, "Oh shit!" Like,
Florida right now, they are so red. It's not even funny. Did you hear what DeSantis did? He said that no state or no county, no nothing like that is allowed to have any what was it, fines or any mask mandate.
All they have to do is say they're not going to enforce it.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, getting back to the libertarian view, personal. If it's your personal business and you request it, I don't have a problem with that. That's your personal business, like your
Yeah.
business. If you ask people to wear a mask or come in, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, there is a case that can be made, and there's a lot
Small
of...
areas.
Well, what do you mean small areas?
Like a small area. Like you go inside somewhere. In
Yeah,
a
yeah,
small
yeah,
area.
yeah.
Like.
Well, but again, and actually it was Ben Shapiro who pointed this out. There's a misconception that the Constitution has authority over things like state public health ordinances, and it does to a point. But states have a lot of leeway that they can legally take in the name of public health.
Yep.
I'm not necessarily against a mask mandate, but here's my problem with it. I have a problem with laws and regulations that people just say fuck it. And it's like they were talking about, and there's a lot of misinformation. People were talking about, oh yeah, in Indiana anyway, they're like, oh yeah, if you're caught wearing a mask, they're going to fine you. And I'm like, really? No, they're not.
Caught wearing a mask or not
Not wearing a mask.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I was like, where the hell was that?
Sorry, I misspoke.
That was at one of those barbecue restaurants where they said, don't wear a mask. Which, by the way, I'm actually pretty anti-mask, just to put the record out there. I don't have any problems with people saying stuff. The way I like to see it, if you ask me, I'm okay with it. But if you go, you need to, you have to, I don't like that.
That's not... And see, again...
That's my problem with authority. That has nothing to do with...
Here's the problem with a lot of issues is, again, it's framed wrong. See,
absolutely,
people would label you as anti-mask. It's like, no, you're anti-needless, warrantless authority. Because there is some debate...
And statistics, CDC statistics.
But there is some debate out there, and whether you believe it or not, there is a debate out there as to whether or not masks are effective. I would simply say that I would use Pascal's wager on this one. And I would simply say it's something like this. You can look at it either way. Let's say that they're wrong about the masks and they don't help at all. What have you really lost? Minor discomfort, and you have to remember the thing, which is probably the biggest pain in the ass.
Right.
So I always have to run back to my car. But I'm getting steps. I'm getting steps in.
Yeah.
I'm getting steps
in. And on the medical side, which, a lot of people say, oh, I have a medical condition. It's like, I have a deviated septum. I can't breathe.
I have a deviated septum. I found that out with my COVID test.
When it pushes on my nostrils, I literally can't breathe out of my mouth. So I end up being a mouth breather when I wear the mask. And what that does is it makes it saturated here.
Yeah.
And obviously, breathing that, your own funk in. It's not necessarily the fact that you're going to get sick or anything like that, but it's just like, it stinks.
Oh, yeah.
Your mouth is a dirty place.
Chew some gum.
Your mouth is a dirty, dirty place. No, dude.
Got a dirty mouth.
Hold on. I got a funny story for you. So I obviously, I deliver pizzas, so eat me. Anyway, so I'm delivering pizzas, and I've got my mask on, and I have these breath mints, and they're very strong. Well, when I'm breathing out, the top of my mouth, it was just put in my eyes, and I literally walked up to the door crying because my eyes were so, like, watery from this, and they're like, are you okay? And they ended up giving me $20.
See, because of that mask. That mask made you money.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. But anyway, yeah, it's just like, stuff like that happens.
You should use that next time you're in a fight with your wife.
Oh, shit.
Just be like, just totally break the tension right there.
Start crying.
Just be like,
put on the mask
You
and
just-
eat a fucking mint.
You've just broken me. Just run to the bathroom, put your mask on, pop a couple breath mints, and come out and just be like,
that's a good idea.
I just love you so much.
That's a good idea.
But yeah,
Pointers.
anyway, speaking of people crying, Trump.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I was pretty sure he was going to win when I saw him take Florida. And the reason I think he's going to win, there's a lot of reasons why I think he's going to win this time. First and foremost, because he's running against Joe Biden, who, here's the thing. Well, I don't particularly like Joe Biden, but I wouldn't say I dislike him per se.
Oh, dude, the memes with him and Obama were amazing. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah, those were great.
Hold me back, Barack.
And he did. Like, they had to muzzle him.
Yeah,
Because
but
he's going out there and talking nonsense.
that's his problem, It's like, but honestly, people should not be voting on personality.
Well,
It should always be policy.
Well, to a point. But here's the thing. And this section, I think it was Tim Pool on his show brought this up. It's like, he spent the debate,
He came out pro-Trump this year.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
Well, I wouldn't say pro-Trump. He said he's voting for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would consider that pro-Trump in the sense that it's like for this election.
Right. Well,
But he pointed out, I believe it was Tim Pool, I'm like 99% sure. But he pointed out, he said, okay, yeah, but Biden spent a lot of time in that debate basically whining because Trump was quote-unquote talking over him. However, I would like to point out that Biden interrupted Trump first.
a lot. And on top of that, Chris Wallace let him speak quite a bit more.
Now, Trump got obnoxious with it, but again, I watched the debate twice.
He had no choice if you actually saw it,
I mean, I would call that defensive because it became very clear very quickly that he was debating two people that night.
That was insane. I still can't believe that.
If you don't think it, you weren't watching that debate. Which Chris Wallace, I mean, talk about just a lackluster moderator.
Horrible. And did you see the, I can't remember who they
That guy was about as engaging as a NyQuil commercial. I mean,
ZZ Quill.
Now we're gonna talk about stuff and things.
What was that? Sir, it's his time.
Why don't they give the moderator the ability to cut the mic?
No. Here's what they need to do. The moderator walks up, hands him a microphone.
Yes.
Takes it. You know, fuck the other bullshit, cutting mics and stuff like that. He just walks up and hands it to him. And they make sure it's sanitized. No, just kidding.
Well, yeah, with COVID, I can see that being a problem. But yeah, give the moderator
Especially
the
those two
ability.
old guys.
I guarantee you there will be less of that going over if they know their mic's going to be cut. And, like, give them some padding. You know, give them a warning.
Well, and that's the thing about all this nonsense. You know, it's like I felt like that entire 90 minutes, Trump was literally just defending himself. You know,
To a point, I thought he made some pretty strong points. I was kind of surprised.
he did, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like he didn't get a full 90 minutes to actually just talk about what he wanted to talk about. You know, like where he's wanting to go forward.
Yeah, he got more in than I thought he would, though. Honestly.
Well, I mean, with what he got in there, what was it?
It was hard fought. It was definitely hard fought.
And Biden, what did he say?
And I also-
Shut up, man.
I also wanted to point out, you know, that again, you know, people were saying that Trump was rude. Biden called him a clown.
Twice.
Twice.
Couple times.
Yeah, twice. And then every time he got frustrated, he would just say, "Would you just shut up?" I don't think I've ever seen that in a debate.
No.
Ever. Definitely not to that level.
That's the funny thing, you know, actually going to that, like, I'm not trying to get on tangent, but Trump and Hillary Clinton, even though they threw that shit was gold. But the thing is, though, they still both talked about their policies and what they wanted to do, and it was a little more calm between them two.
Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, when Trump said, because you'd be in jail, you know, like shit like that. But the thing is, between him and Joe Biden, it was just straight animosity.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean,
you could cut the tension.
Well, and again, I think that started. I think Trump was ready for it, but I definitely think it started with Joe.
Yeah.
Because I think Trump was cordial up until Joe started, and even let him get away with it a couple of times. The first couple of times Joe interrupted him, he kind of like shrugged it off and let the moderator But then it became clear the moderator was letting Joe get away with a lot more.
But did you notice though, even though with all that stuff, like, and you said you watched it twice.
Yeah.
I only watched it once. I'm bad. But
Well, I watched it again tonight, so I had.
Yeah, I know. I should have been fresh. I had to work. Anyway, so I feel like Trump was pretty calm throughout the entire thing, and while he was throwing insults, but they were just kind of like, "Yeah, your mother's a fat whore," shit like that.
You know what though, and here's the other thing. Again, people on the left think they call him a bully, but at least in this debate, because I mean he's a bully.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but in
100.
this debate, it was one of those things where I don't know how many of you are wrestling fans, but I always kind of I equate him to Shawn Michaels in the 90s.
Oh shit.
He's such an asshole.
What'd they call him? The kid?
The Heartbreak Kid.
The Heartbreak Kid.
But that's not what I mean. So Trump is Shawn Michaels in the 90s, where he's such a colossal dick, but he backs everything up. And if you say anything back to him, he's just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Go for it. I don't care. There's nothing you can say to me that's any worse than what I'm about to say to you.
He's the heart monitor kid.
Yeah, and that's what I said.
Pacemaker.
No, and again, the Democrats there were so many people that honestly could beat Trump. Tulsi Gabbard's one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing, I don't think Trump would have been ballsy enough to attack her.
She wouldn't get conservative votes, though. Like, and that's a tough one.
She'd get more than Biden.
Well, believe it or not, like, people can say what they want about Biden. I believe he's personally, and I'm not talking outwardly, he's more conservative than people think.
Well, yeah, but that's just because of his age.
Yeah, exactly, because he's playing to a.
He's definitely pandering.
Yeah, he's definitely pandering to the younger crowd.
But again, he's making the same mistake that Hillary did. Is he's trying to walk that tightrope between the radical left and they're trying to get conservative votes. But here's the thing, and I still maintain, if Bernie Sanders was the Democratic VP, Biden would win in a landslide.
Oh my God, because of how popular he is.
Because people on the left, and I've talked to people that I know on the left, and they're friends of mine. Yes, you can have friends on both sides of the political aisle.
And you don't have to have any animosity towards each other. That's just the way it goes.
Just don't impersonate Bernie in front of them. Actually, they love it. They think it's funny. But the primary goal of the left in this election is to beat Trump. But the further left you are, the more you support policies that Bernie really was behind. If you wanted to unite the party, I mean, see, the Biden campaign, because I'm not going to give Biden credit for this, I'm not surprised he picked Kamala Harris. I think it was a really bad decision.
He chose a woman and a woman of color.
Well, he murdered himself when he came out and said I was gonna pick a woman of color, and it's like, well, that's three people. I mean, there were three legit options, and two of which I don't even remember their names.
Kamala Harris, and then
I totally forget their names.
Hold on, what was?
But I would like to point out that Tulsi Gabbard is a woman of color. Just throw it out there.
And she's insanely hot. She's Hawaiian.
Aloha, hey.
Yeah, I like dolphins. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway.
She, but no, getting back to Tulsi though, I think she could have had a fair shot because she's. She's pro Second Amendment, right? But she did say that there was certain gun laws that she would like to see put forth, and I'm just like, man, just leave that alone. Like you're not gonna go set over well.
But this seems to be more of an issue with Democrats. Republicans do it too, to a certain extent. Democrats like to write laws when there are already laws on the books, but they like to write laws that already exist and just aren't being enforced. But they also like to write laws that cannot or will not be enforced.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about things like, trying to pick the best example here. So they're talking about, like we don't want people who are mentally ill to be able to buy handguns. Well, to be able to buy guns, not handguns. Well, they already can't.
Yeah, because if they're like they do background checks.
Yeah.
So
if you fail a background check,
you're not getting a gun.
You can't get a gun. And there was a wonderful video. I believe it was Louder with Crowder. I could be wrong, but they did a video about the whole gun show loophole. Which again, in some states you can do it. It's possible.
Are you talking about? Well, the thing is though, with any time you buy a gun, you have to do a background check, right?
Kind of.
Explain.
If it's a private, now again, I'm not sure of the legality of this.
Okay.
Because I was told the opposite. I was told that even if it's a private sale, you have to fill out the FFL or FLL or whichever form that is the background check.
I have no clue. I'm about to file.
Well,
about to file for one here soon.
And I was told this by a gentleman who used to own a gun store, and he said that even when you do a private sale, you have to do it in a gun store and you have to do the background check. However, I've had other people who have plenty of guns tell me the opposite. So I'm honestly not sure on that one. And I tried to look it up, and it's unclear. At least as far as I can tell. And this is only in the state of Indiana.
What candidate was for getting rid of background checks and
I don't know.
registration at all completely? I can't remember who it was.
Well, there's not really a lot of
This was one, and I just heard this recently.
Well, that's ridiculous.
I agree.
And I don't think you would find any gun owner, any responsible gun owner.
No, they would be like, I would rather someone have a background check.
I kind of think it's a good idea for somebody who's about to buy a firearm.
Who was that?
To have a background check. I don't think anybody. But that's the thing. The Democrats make it like we want background checks. Like we already have background checks. No one is disputing this. Literally, well, I mean, apparently there's one crazy guy.
I hate to say this. I think it's Donald Rainwater. I'm not positive. But
it was probably Vermin Supreme.
Something. I have no idea.
I think I would vote for Vermin Supreme.
Who's that?
You don't know who Vermin Supreme is?
I'm behind.
Oh my gosh, I want to say he ran for president, and I think he's in New York. He ran as an independent a couple of times, but he wears. I'm not making this up. He wears a boot on his head, and he promised like every American ridiculous things. Yeah,
what party did he run for?
He completely independent. He wasn't in a party, at least not that I'm aware of.
Don't you have to? I mean, I know you said libertarian is on the ballot. Don't you have to pick one of the two?
No. Bernie Sanders ran.
He ran under Democratic.
No, for president, yes, but not as a senator.
Senator. Okay, well, that's what I mean for president.
No, I don't think so. Well, no, because Ross Perot ran as an independent, and he wasn't affiliated with a party. And that, frankly, he's why they're so scared of third parties. Because they thought they were going to be cute and invite him on the debate stage, and he, like, floored them. I watched that debate. I went back and watched it. That was something to see.
Who was he debating?
Clinton and H.W. Bush.
Oh, man.
That was something to see.
Old George.
That was something to see right there. To see old Ross Perot get up there and take votes away from me. That was something to say.
The best George Bush was when he was in Harold and Kumar. That was amazing. He was just like a regular down to earth guy.
You know what I felt? We're talking about W, right?
Yeah. Oh, Junior.
Yeah, George W. Bush. I felt so not bad for him, but when Obama was sworn in and W was leaving, God, you could just see the relief on his face. And I mean that, like, I was not the hugest fan, but I mean,
huge.
I mean, God, I felt for that guy. He just looked so sad. And I was like, you know what? You go back to Texas and you don't do fuck all for 4 years. I mean, you just go back. And he painted, and apparently he looks great now. But damn, when he left office, I just felt so bad for him.
Yeah, well, I mean,
look at what happened during his presidency. I mean, shit.
One of the worst.
He drank a lot, I'm sure.
I don't doubt it. I mean, that's. And I already know what you're talking about, but I was debating. Well, I wasn't really debating this kid. He's a good kid. He's just he's kind of a little backwards. But the thing is, he was talking about 9/11, and he was talking about how it was this meme, and they were comparing, I want to say, slavery to 9/11. And I know it's completely oddball, which, you know, both are equally bad. I'm just gonna say that. But the thing is, like, they were comparing it somehow. I can't remember it. But anyway, so he was talking about it, and he said that I don't know, like I just explained to him. I was like, dude, like we were, me and my friends, we were kids when this all happened. We were in class, and they locked our shit down, and we were told as like 2011. We were 2001. We were.
Yeah, it happened in 2001.
What? We were 13, 14 years old.
14, yep.
Yeah, so we just told, oh, okay, the country's been bombed, and we're all shitting our pants, scared, locked.
But nobody knew. Nobody knew what was going on.
No, well, I mean, we were told because were you weren't in our class?
I was in band when it happened.
Me and I want to say Craig and Sean, we were in. I'm not gonna say shop. We were the dumb kids. No, what did they call that? It was not called shop. It was called something else. It was called it was something stupid. Like, they made it sound. They took it and made like two big words, and it was just shop. Industrial information or something like that, or I don't fucking know.
Arts?
And
it's nothing like, at least it wasn't facility maintenance at OK.
But anyway, so we had computer access there.
Oh yeah.
2001. You remember how great the internet was then. Anyway, so
I will never forget the first day I had broadband though.
Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh man.
It was like night and day switch.
Lycos loaded like
dude. Don't even talk to me about Lycos. That fucking dog searched so much shit. You know what? You think Google's the shit? Google. Lycos is the shit.
That was pre-Google though. I mean,
Lycos is still out,
Yeah.
Yeah, it still works. It's just not very good.
Google was around, but what were they?
Google 2000.
Because we were using Lycos.
2006, 2004.
I know they were around, but that's when they hit it big.
Yeah, well, they were around for a while, but then they like got really big in like what, 9?
I think, yeah. That was when their stock one of my greatest regrets.
Should have bought stock.
I had the opportunity to buy Google stock.
Could've
for
been
pennies. I mean, pennies.
Could have been rich. I mean, I
wouldn't have been filthy rich because I didn't have a lot of money, but I would have made like a 300% return.
I could have bought Bitcoin
in like 3 days.
Did you hear about the guy who he bought? I want to say it was like 13,000 or 1,300 Bitcoins when they were nothing.
Yeah.
And he, or maybe it was like 33,000. I can't remember.
Well, back when they were pennies.
They were $20,000 at one point for one. And this guy had like so many, and he had it on a portable hard drive, and he lost it, and it went to a landfill, and he is still looking in that landfill to this day. And he's just, when he was interviewed about it, he goes, "Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, what do I do?" And I'm like, "You tear that fucking landfill up."
But that should be
landfill
online somewhere, right?
What? No, because the thing is, you were, it's cryptocurrency. Like, it doesn't have to be tied to anything. It can just like be, I mean, technically downloaded, because people are so tied to apps and whatnot. They think it just has to be on an app or on this or that.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, a lot of people have.
So is it an actual file?
I'm assuming. I don't really know too much about it. All I know is this guy had. Well, maybe in the early days, but nowadays it's more like an internet currency.
Yeah. Well, now it's traded.
Yeah.
Now it's publicly traded.
I mean, I bought into it, and I bought Litecoin or something like that, and I didn't make any money off of it, so I sold it.
I didn't, because Dave Ramsey told me not to.
I didn't listen to Dave. I lost about $20.
I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, considering I had $400 at one point of it, I did make money. Technically, at one point.
That's one of those things, though. That's what you would call I don't know what the technical term is, but that's a like buy and sell real quick type of commodity, just because of the volatility. That, at least my opinion. Again, we're not experts. Our thumbnail is a chimp wearing a suit, and that is insanely accurate. And we're looking at Bill. I
think we might have to switch to Bill for next thumbnail.
Maybe we should just do a different thumbnail every time. Anyway, so all right, well,
2020.
Well, tell you what, let's start with the debate, because I got some notes. So basically, the first thing that I liked, and again, this makes me weird, but Trump went right into the question. He didn't do that bullshit well, I'd like to thank the debate committee and the press and everybody here and my wife and my dog.
He knew everybody was against him.
Well, no, and I don't even think it was that. I think it was like he was asked a question. Let's go to the question. Nobody wants to hear you pander. Nobody who matters wants to hear you pander. And I don't think anybody's like, oh, he said thank you to people. I'm voting for him. And I say that, and I'm sure there's someone.
I didn't notice that.
Well, Biden did, and he started to go into it, and then he backed away from it. He
I did not notice that.
I thought he kind of started to taper it off once he realized he's like, oh wait, Trump didn't do that. And let's be real, like you can tell when a politician's pandering, and every time they do that,
it's sad.
I mean, I can feel it. It's just like, okay, well, they're like going through a mental checklist. And it's obnoxious, and it eats up 90 seconds of
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, y'all.
So here's the funny thing about AOC.
Oh gosh.
When she won, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, because the thing is, you probably had no idea who she was, and
Well, I had a little bit of an idea, but I thought it was, and I still think it was cool that she won because
she came from being a bartender.
Well, no, that's not even it. I mean, she's young.
I didn't hate her at first.
Well, I still don't hate her.
I just think she's incredibly naive and
I'm glad you said naive.
Ignorant.
I'm gonna go into that. But I thought and I watched the Netflix documentary about her. Did you know her opponent didn't even show up to the debate?
Oh my god.
Yeah, he didn't even show up.
He could have won.
I mean, theoretically, but he literally thought he had it in the bag, and that's why I was so happy that she won. Then she started talking.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, okay. I was starting to lose faith.
Well, here's my thing. I think, and I still think this is going to happen. I think she's going to be a political force to be reckoned with in a little while. But I think what she should have done.
She should have done her homework. She should have shut up and done her job.
And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful because I know there's a lot of AOC fans out there. She should have gone to Congress and followed the doctrine of mouth shut, eyes and ears open.
Keep your head down.
Yeah, exactly. You are there, like...
Someone told her to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people told her to do that. But that's not... Nobody on the left told her to do that.
No, yeah. I want to say... man, who was it? It was maybe not left. I don't know. It was some elder members. Mm-hmm. I want to say.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember who it was.
I don't think Clinton said anything about her.
No, I don't think so either. However, I mean, here's the thing, and this is the other thing I've noticed is the Democrat, at least the most recent Democratic Party, is really, really bad about planning long term, because she's a shoo-in to run for president one day.
Oh God.
If they don't ruin her, and they're gonna, if they're on the same track now, I think somebody's finally gotten her to calm down, because that Green New Deal thing, I mean.
Speaking of,
they lost so much credibility.
Did you hear what Biden said about that?
Yeah, and I fact checked that.
I feel like he was just doing his ramblings once again, and he actually wasn't talking about it. But the thing is, he has a certain policy that's going to be similar to it.
There's certain things that are similar, but some of the more sensible things.
I wouldn't even say that it's sensible. He said it's going to create new jobs, and I don't have a problem with that. But the thing is, what we need are, just like they're going with energy, renewable resources, we need renewable jobs. Just because you finish building something, then the job's over, construction. I know it would take a long time. I know this is kind of ramblings of a madman, but what I'm getting at is, like building up these buildings that are going green, whatnot, and then going in and refitting houses for like, green energy. It sounds great. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing wrong with renewable energy.
If it's done the right way.
Yes, but over a very long period of time.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Process. Well, take the electric cars, for example.
Oh, I love Tesla.
Right, but
Teslas are amazing.
Tesla was not really part of that whole plan.
No.
Tesla was a bit of an anomaly, and it was a market-based anomaly. And Elon Musk... Here's the thing. There was already a trend of going to electric cars because gasoline was so expensive.
Yep.
If they just left it alone, I'd wager to say that without the subsidies... Well, I take that back, because Tesla did take a subsidy, but they paid it back. There would be electric cars with or without government subsidies. And I would even argue that because they pumped so much subsidies into making more fuel efficient cars, that they stifled the development of electric cars. Now, granted, the technology wasn't exactly there, but I mean, if you're an auto manufacturer and you're getting a bunch of government subsidies to make more fuel efficient gasoline cars, how much are you really going to put into R&D for a fully electric car?
Absolutely true. But the number one thing they need to do with these electric cars, because the thing is, if they have charging stations, these charging stations have to get their power from somewhere.
Right.
Now, the thing is, those giant fields, which you've seen the signs around town, solar.
Oh, yeah, the solar plant.
Yeah, like they're literally. I didn't know this because I had to ask my wife. I was like, so what are you talking about? These solar plants? It says no to solar plants. I was like, isn't solar good? And she's like, well, don't you know anything about it? And I was like, no. And she goes, well, research it. And so I did, and it's literally fields and fields of solar panels, and they're sending energy out to California.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going out to California.
I didn't either. So basically,
I think solar panels are one of those things that are great for individual use, but as far as mass energy consumption, I think
it's because they haven't figured out a way to make them more compact. I mean, hell, our smallest microchip in computers is insane. How small they are, but yet we can't figure out how to make a solar panel smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, the aliens haven't taught us that one yet.
Well, but again, I think the argument can be made with windmills too, because do they work? Yes. Are they the most effective?
No.
And the thing of it is,
gotta have wind.
Well, and again, a lot of people aren't looking at it economically, because it's I have no idea what your average solar panel size is, but I do know how big a windmill is, and I know that it takes a semi truck with a 52-foot bed to carry one fan. One fan.
When that fan is only going to create how many kilowatts of energy?
I take that back. Not one fan, one blade.
Holy! Oh yeah, because those things are ginormous.
Well, you've seen them.
Yeah,
I've driven by them. And here's the other thing. A lot of times, those trucks have escorts because they're such a large load. So that's 3 vehicles carrying one blade. And every time I drive through that wind farm in northern Indiana, there are windmills that aren't working.
Nuclear energy.
I'm 100%.
That's where we need to go.
That.
And what is it?
It's clean and it's safe when it's maintained.
What is the process on the sun? What type of energy is that? Is it fission or
fission?
Yeah, fission is stronger than fusion, correct?
Correct, but we haven't been able to
figure out how to do it safely. Obviously, the sun is not stable. I mean, it's stable, but you know what I mean.
Stable to a point.
We couldn't contain something like that.
No.
Well, we're not there yet.
But again, this is what I was getting to. If you look at the cost-benefit analysis of energy gotten versus waste, nuclear is still. I mean, the waste from nuclear fission is, insanely minimal compared to chemical energy. Especially when you factor in environmental.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. 0% emissions on that nuclear factories.
0 carbon emissions. Yeah.
Yeah, and
there is the potential pollution from nuclear waste, but again, we have ways to safely dispose of that. And again, everybody's going to bring up Fukushima and Chernobyl, which Chernobyl happened in the 70s.
That was back in the day, and that was before extreme regulations.
And it was antiquated technology.
Yeah.
And Fukushima is the same thing. They built that thing. I believe they built that thing in the 70s. And again, this is coming partially from a Joe Rogan special. It's
we're not original.
Well, I love the bit because it's funny, not because of the nuclear reactor, but because of the Godzilla joke. He basically says it's like, you didn't think there would be an off switch? It's like, don't be negative, bro. It's never gonna break. And then it broke. And then to cool it down, they pumped seawater, which they did. They pumped seawater into the nuclear plant to cool it, and then they pumped it back in the ocean. And he's like, have you seen your own monster movies? It's like, that's how you made Godzilla.
That's fantastic.
Oh, I thought that was hysterical. I had to pause it. I was laughing so hard.
I literally when I'm driving around delivering, I listen to a podcast from him, and one of my favorites is Steven Crowder.
So Crowder.
The first one or the second one, man, when he went in on him, and I had this is actually what brought me to Joe Rogan. So like, and he's opened my eyes on a lot of different ideas and whatnot. But like when I'm, because I like Steven Crowder first, you know, because he's
hilarious.
He's hilarious. And
Steven Crowder is funny.
He's not. I don't consider him actually a political guy. I consider him more of a comedian.
I do too, but
I know he has his convictions and he's extremely religious.
I always describe Steven Crowder though as obnoxiously conservative.
Yeah, just a tad.
And that's really my only issue with him because Ben Shapiro does this to a point, not as bad as Crowder, but it's like, boy, you want to talk about spin. Like, they will spin anything to the right. Now, here's the thing, though. I still like Steven Crowder because a lot of the times he's right. And that bit he did with Antifa, where they infiltrated Antifa.
Oh, that was amazing.
Well, that was amazing, but, I mean, that was glaring. Like, that was real journalism.
Yeah, and that's where everyone's getting lost these days.
Yeah.
They're more activists than there are journalists. You know, and that's exactly what
that's activism, not journalism.
Chris Wallace went in. You know, when he, which is so played out, and this is another thing is like what Joe Biden did to Trump. You know, saying the same old tired things, and Chris Wallace did the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you denounce white supremacy? And Trump twice
said yes.
Sure. Yes, I do.
And then he even said, "Tell me." And I didn't catch this the first time, and I'm glad I rewatched it because everybody was like, "Oh, well, he named the Proud Boys." No, Chris Wallace named the Proud Boys.
Yep. And
now,
on top of that,
whole exchange was happening really fast because Trump literally said, "Tell me who tell me who you want me to denounce," and then Chris Wallace throws Proud Boys in there.
No. Trump actually said Proud Boys.
No. Go back.
Are you sure?
It. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Go back and watch it.
Because I swear Trump said the Proud. He goes, who? Proud Boys?
Nope, it was Chris Wallace said Proud Boys first.
Shit.
So, and again, though, everybody on the left was giving Trump shit. He's like, see, he named the Proud Boys. No, he didn't.
But regardless, one of the leaders of the Proud Boys is a person of color.
Yes.
What? But they're racist. Don't get me wrong. I mean, just because you have a person of color in an organization doesn't mean they can't be racist.
Let's be real here. I mean, if you're a conservative activist group, the Proud Boys are not who you want to hang your hat with necessarily.
I don't really know anything about them.
It's my understanding that it started as a joke.
Really?
That's my understanding. I could be totally wrong.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, and they look kind of silly.
I mean, I think it was literally a college joke.
They kind of do.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Look like frats, you know, like, hey man.
I think it started as a joke, but then like it started as a joke, and then, you know, I believe it was Antifa, you know, started actually like trying to assault them.
That's the thing, man. Like groups get big like that because of idiots, you know, flaming the fans. You know, it's like.
Well, and I've always said.
Flaming the fire. Fans.
I've always said though, and again, people don't get it. Right now, it seems to be particularly bad with liberals, but conservatives have done it before in the past. It's like, and you know, you're saying Trump's a white supremacist, and you're talking about these white supremacists. If there's a Nazi rally, don't show up. Pay them no mind, because that's what they want.
And that's the thing about you're talking about Charlottesville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you had the Nazi idiots on one side, and were the Proud Boys on the other side? Or were they like on that side, but like they were also like fighting Antifa?
I think they were there to quote unquote preserve freedom of speech.
I don't think they were on. They weren't on the. Was it KKK or was it just white supremacists? I know they're the same thing.
Charlottesville?
Yeah.
I believe they were neo-Nazis.
Okay, so but the thing is, while they were on the same side of the street, they were not on the same side of, you know, their...
Well, and again, I'd like to believe that they were there to, in their own minds, I'd like to believe that they were there to prevent things from getting out of hand.
Right. I'm just trying to make sense of the, you know, how Trump, you know, when he said about there's good people on both sides. And the whole quote was there's good people on both sides. I can't remember the entire quote, but he said there's good people on both sides.
And there's bad people on both sides. And I think that was a blunder on his part.
Yeah,
it's not
ramblings of a madman.
Yeah, well, it's not the way. I think I understand what he was trying to say, but he shouldn't have said it that way, and
No.
I think he knows it.
That's the thing about him. It's like there are plenty of times, just like we were talking about AOC, shut up and listen.
Yeah.
You know,
Pause.
especially
There are
like the
some-
debate.
There are some wonderful videos of AOC basically getting owned by witness. I forget what committees she's all on, but I know there's one with the former director of ICE.
That one was fantastic. When
Well, but he was kind of being a prick.
well, the thing, yeah, he was. Well, I mean, he's the director of ICE, man. You should think of the thing.
Director.
Well, former, but you should think of the things he's probably seen.
True, but again, he also was not really answering the question.
No, and
I can see how that's frustrating on both ends.
but regardless, though, when you're asked a dumb question, it's like, man, do I really got to answer this?
And plus, I don't know how long he'd been sitting there.
Oh yeah, and
I mean, he'd probably been there listening to asinine questions because I don't know. Occasionally, in my life, I've turned C-SPAN on.
it's entertaining.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
A lot of the times, it's boring as hell.
But when you get like AOC up there, Ilhan Omar,
Oh, some of her.
some people did something.
You know what? I actually defended her on that because again, I went back and looked
Out of
at,
context.
Not necessarily, but again, that goes back to like I know what she said, but that's not what she meant.
And honestly,
What
a lot of people get
yeah.
that flack a lot.
Well, and what she meant, because I went back and I do this thing when somebody is quoted as saying something, I go back and I try to find the whole quote, and if there's a video, that's what I go for, because there's a lot you get in tone. What she was getting at, and again, I don't like Ilhan Omar. from a
Yeah, I
policy
mean,
standpoint.
she's definitely anti-American.
I wouldn't even go that far. I just think she's so embedded in.
When
the
I say
radical left.
anti-American, I don't mean like anti like America. I'm just talking like our normal way,
Yeah. Okay.
because obviously it's not what she
she's certainly
grew up with.
anti-traditional America. which there's-
Somalia, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But anyway, what she was basically trying to say is that there was a select group of people that did something, and then her argument was that the group as a whole
Did not represent the
did not
entire
represent-
Muslim
that
faith.
small group of people did not represent the whole of the Islam community, which is true.
I said Muslim. I
Well,
apologize.
I should have said Muslim actually.
Is it Muslim or Islam?
A Muslim is a follower of Islam. Islam is the religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
So I should have said Muslim.
I'm unintelligible once again.
Intelligible. We're somewhat.
I like that
intelligible.
word.
But again,
Average.
And I actually disagreed with Dan Crenshaw on that one because he was kind of attacking her. Now he was attacking her in a very polite way, but I was like, that's a stretch to say that she was anti-American there. I mean, I understand why if you had only heard that part, why you might have a problem. But if you go back and actually listen to what she said before and after,
It didn't sound so bad.
It wasn't bad at all because I totally understood what she was saying. But again, that's one of those things where if she paused and kind of worded it a little bit better, there wouldn't have been an issue.
Well, what do you think about her on her anti-Semitic remarks?
That's hard to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
She went in on people, and what was it?
Well, I remember her, and then oh gosh, who was the other one? That whole thing was just ridiculous. So they wanted to go to Israel as part of the delegation. Israel said okay, and then they were like, "Well, we're not going to Israel because of your human rights violations." And gosh, I cannot remember the specifics, but then Israel revoked their travel. Oh no, I remember, because there was reason to believe that they were going there to speak with leaders from, I want to say Hamas. I might be wrong, but some group that is certainly anti-Israel. It might have been Hamas, but so Israel revoked their travel, and they called Islamophobia.
Yeah, it's like, well, you came out publicly first.
But
so.
that would literally be like somebody requesting to attend a delegation to the U.S. to openly talk to. Okay, I'll give you the perfect example. Let's say if Barack Obama was still president, and that would be like somebody coming from Israel to talk to the KKK. if the KKK was like 10 times more militant and better funded.
That's scary.
I mean, but really, that's at least as far as I could see. That it's like,
hey,
I mean, what did you expect to happen?
It's 2020. Anything could happen.
Yeah, ain't that right? Well, I mean, I find it very hard to understand why you're calling a sovereign nation has the right to protect its national security, particularly from foreign nationals.
Yeah, especially ones who are obviously against it.
Well, right, that's a national security issue because lest we forget, Israel is surrounded by people who want them gone.
Yeah, like on all sides.
It's and that's not even a fair comparison when I said it's like somebody coming to the USA to meet with the KKK, because the KKK has no chance whatsoever of overthrowing the United States.
KKK is like completely diminished in years. Like,
well, yeah, and the only reason they still have a presence is because the news media keeps giving them one.
Yeah, let it die.
I mean, well, that was the broader point I was trying to make. If there's a Nazi rally, just don't pay attention. Because that's what they're doing. They're provocateurs. They're trying to raise... Just look at them and be like...
You're an idiot.
Look at these ignorant fucks.
Exactly. It's why do I need to give you any of my time?
Because if you validate their ideas, it means you're indirectly giving them validation. Because you are, through your actions, basically saying, hey, there's something to this, and people might latch onto it. Now, you might think it's bullshit, but, I mean... And people forget, too... People also forget about the German Bund before the U.S. entered World War II. There was a Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, legit.
What?
Oh, yeah, legit. There was a Nazi rally with police escort. First Amendment. Oh, yeah, you can Google that. Look up the German Bund.
Well, they didn't have, that they weren't gassing people by the millions then.
Well, they were, but it was a little bit more under wraps. And the U.S. wasn't in the war yet. So it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't an issue of national security per se.
That is wild. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. Look up the German Bund. I believe it's spelled B-U-N-D.
What?
And it was directly funded and orchestrated by the Nazis. Like, they made it seem like we're just German Americans proud of our heritage. No, it was directly. And it was part of a program to try to raise Germany, because again, this was back in the 1930s. This is before, the U.S. was even hardly involved.
Well, and just so you know, Trump set that up.
yeah, Trump. Listen, we're gonna make a time machine, right?
It's gonna be great.
We're gonna make a time machine. It's gonna be the best time machine you've ever seen. We're gonna go back and we're gonna uplift the Nazis so that in 2020 I can get accused of being called a Nazi.
It's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be huge. Actually, you know what? The archive footage is chilling. Like, cause they recorded it. There's footage. That is weird.
That's terrifying.
Did I say Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, where was it?
It couldn't have been Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden. Are you talking? Was it in New York?
Hang on a second, because I could have sworn the documentary said Madison Square Garden, but Madison Square Garden wasn't built.
What was it called? The Bund?
Yeah, the German Bund. It was in New York.
Bund. We're googling.
Yeah, it couldn't have been Madison Square Garden.
German Bund.
I'm gonna search MSG, but I know it's not gonna come up. Nazis took Manhattan. Okay, let me see. Oh no, Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden.
That was in 1936.
The rally was in 1939.
Oh.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
It says German American Bund.
Yeah, it probably started in 1936. What? Okay, now I'm confused.
America Deutscher.
America Deutsch.
Deutscher. Is ER, is that Deutsch?
Oh, there's been more than one Madison Square Garden.
I'm definitely not. It dissolved in 1941.
I should hope so.
Holy shit. They were literally trying to Germanize the United States. Holy shit.
Well, and then, people, there's so much about that.
Activities. They had a parade on East 86th Street in New York City, October 30th, 1939. Holy shit. A day before fucking Halloween. 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 That makes no sense.
Yeah. Let's see here. German American Bund. It was on Georgia. It was
Buffalo, New York.
Wow, that's chilling. If you look this up on Wikipedia, they literally have a photograph of it. They've got a picture of George Washington with American flags, and then there's swastikas. Like, this, oh man, this.
Can you imagine if they won the war? We'd all be speaking German right now.
They wouldn't have. They're
Just saying.
I know, and it's fun to think about. Like, but if you really. Like,
Poor choice of words. It's not fun. Just
well,
kidding.
no, I mean it's fun to think about.
I'm joking.
But that's why I can't watch The Man in the High Tower.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. There's
The Man in the High Tower. What's that?
It's a show on Amazon. It's an alternate reality where the Axis powers won World War II and occupied North America.
Oh wow.
Well, it sounds cool, but I didn't like it. A lot of people like it. I couldn't get into it. But I mean, there's no way. There's no way. I've thought about this so many times. I can't see a way that the Axis powers could have won World War II. I mean, everything would have had to go right for them. I mean, the Russians would have had to just stop. We couldn't. D-Day would have had to have been a massive failure. Japan would have had to have had just maybe if Japan had completely obliterated the Pacific Fleet, but even then, I think it would have been a matter of time, not. And then maybe if the Japanese had, they even still could have lost it, but I mean they lost 4 aircraft carriers in the Battle of Midway, and I think they had 7 total. I mean they just from Midway on it was just so Japan would have had to have at least won the Battle of Midway, or at least not lost. I'd say probably no more than 2 carriers, but even then, like just the speed at which we were building shit. I mean, it was just unrivaled. I think it would have only been a matter of time. And like I said, maybe if Russia just...
That was our manufacturing boom. That's why we had a lot of immigrants coming into the United States, because we needed all that.
Freedom thing is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Especially if you were Jewish.
Speaking of the immigration thing, that's what Jo Jorgensen. She actually replied to one of my comments on Facebook.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
It
might be a staffer, but I like to think it's true.
Yeah, I was kind of excited about that, because she told me her policy because on her website it says open borders. It literally says open borders on the website, and the thing is, but the person did go into it and they said what we mean, and then they don't mean open borders like. They say, oh, people will get the wrong assumption when we say open borders. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make me understand when I read the first time. She wants that policy that we had then to bring in immigrants, and like I said, the reason we brought in so many is because our manufacturing was booming, so therefore we had to have those people.
Well, we have an industry boom, but
we have too many people. I mean, what are 425 million Americans? Is that right, or is it 325 million?
I think it's 325.
Yeah, but how many undocumented?
Yeah, and there's no way to know that number.
No,
there's estimates.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't. Your average American doesn't have any problem with an undocumented immigrant, like as long as they're not. Maybe
not outside of principle.
As long as they're not. Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as they're not creating any problems in society.
Correct.
No one really cares about that,
I think a better way to phrase that would be, I think most Americans would agree. Nobody with any sense is really anti-immigrant.
No, exactly. And it's like when you have conservatives and hardcore Republicans saying come the right way, and it's like I agree. I wholeheartedly agree, but it's not that cut and dry. I have a friend. He just married. I'm not gonna say she's illegal. I'm pretty sure she was on a visa. But the thing is, her visa is expired, and
that's the bulk of undocumented immigrants.
Was it like 80%, 90%?
It's up there.
Yeah,
I think
so
it is about 80%.
So basically, it's going to cost them an arm and a leg, and they have to go through. They literally had to drive to another state, only to be told, not today. Yeah. We're not seeing you today. They drove like. I want to say 9 hours or 5 hours, something like that. And we're just told no. And it's like, really? You couldn't give a phone call?
No, because it's the government.
Exactly. And that's why, kids, socialized healthcare will never work.
Okay.
Just going to say.
I've got a point on that later.
It sounds nice. Ask Canada.
Speaking of Canada.
They have good ideas, but how they're executed is...
It's always a problem with execution.
Yes, and people wait.
Yeah. But before we continue, I'm going to share a story of somebody. This
Go
is
ahead.
an anecdote, but it's a very true one, and it kind of points to what you're talking about with the whole visa problem. You cannot blame people necessarily for overstaying their visas when the system is just so incredibly inept. My ex-wife used to work with a girl who immigrated from Ireland, and she was here on a fiancé visa. It took her 6 months to get her work permit. 6 months.
How you gonna eat?
Well, she had to work illegally.
Exactly.
And she didn't for the longest time. And I'm not going to mention names because, like, well, she's not even here anymore. She and her husband immigrated to Ireland.
Regardless, I get you.
But, like, she ended up having to. She had to get paid under the table because, like, and it wasn't, she wanted to work. She wanted to do it legally. They literally would not give her her work permit. It took 6 months. She was here on a fiancé visa. She was here legally. And she even said one time, she said, thank God I was white. And I believe that. I do believe that. That's one of the few areas where I believe there is a systemic problem. Maybe not widespread.
Yeah,
But
it's
it
not a white and
exists.
black. It's not a white and black thing. I mean,
No.
it's all.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's because of our policies and of the past. You know,
it's a broken policy.
we
There's
were a white nation. There's no getting around that.
I would even argue against that per se. Definitely, and it also depends on your definition of white because you have to remember the first real immigration boom was largely Irish and Italian, and they were discriminated against heavily.
Oh yeah.
I mean nowhere near the way African Americans were, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, and
then let's not forget the discrimination that happened against German immigrants in World War I and World War II, and then the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. I mean, it's not...
you know, speaking of concentration camps.
Okay, I'm going to draw a distinction right there, though.
Okay.
Internment camps are not concentration camps.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
No. I don't mean that. I'm specifically talking about concentration camps and the Chinese. Have you seen seen those photos?
Yes.
That's
And
wild.
they're concentration camps.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, they don't call them concentration camps. They call them
okay.
re-education camps.
So...
They're literally taking Christians.
No, they're taking Muslims.
I'm sorry. I meant they're taking Muslims. And are they...
They're shaving their beards. They're doing things that are against... they're certainly doing things... They're not letting them pray. They're basically doing things that are completely against their religion. I'm not even talking Sharia law here. I mean, like, the core components of Islam. They're not letting the women wear hijabs, I believe. I believe they're keeping them separate. I don't know. I would assume that they're keeping them separate.
All I'm saying is China
gets passed.
China is oh my gosh. I don't even want to get on China right now.
That's communism.
Yeah, and people seem to forget that. You know, it's like communist. It's like everyone's like, "Oh gosh, China's doing this." It's like they're not free.
No, not at all.
And
you know they don't have Google, right? It's like that seems so.
That's like North Korea. The only person who's got a computer is Kim Jong Il or not Il. He did.
He did. Yeah, he did. Shit, where was it going? Oh, but anyway, funny story about the immigration thing. So when they immigrated to Ireland, you know how long it took the American husband, the American immigrant immigrating to Ireland, how long it took him to get his work permit?
How long?
2 hours. Yep.
Because he's a man?
No, because Ireland's immigration policy.
Ireland.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
To get it in Ireland.
I was completely backwards.
I mean, obviously, Ireland's immigration policy can be a lot more lax because, well, I mean, it's Ireland. They don't have as many immigrants, but I mean, a policy can't exist. So shit, where were we? Back to the debate. But the first question had to do with appointing of a new Supreme Court judge.
Justice
Okay, yeah, Justice
Ginsburg. Did you see that crazy liberal screaming?
Yes.
That video's been shared so much. I'm pretty sure that was like definitely just an act.
That was staged.
Yeah.
Had to
Anyway, so back to what you're saying.
I'd like to think it was satire.
Absolutely, because I was like, honestly, she just.
It was almost too perfect.
Yeah, it was way too perfect.
It's not like the screaming liberal. After
Oh my god, that was so funny.
It really,
Oh,
it really was.
She had a manly voice. She had a manly scream.
If you're that upset from the result of a presidential election, that means the president has too much power.
That over you.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, if the result of a presidential election will impact your life that much, then that means that the president has too much power.
While I can't agree with that, like these people, yeah, I think they think that, but in all reality, like
it's not as bad as they think.
Executive orders, like how are executive orders dissolved? Like, is there anyone that can?
I believe a new incoming president, or if it's found to be unconstitutional.
That's okay. So basically,
well, and there's checks and balances. Again, I've got my constitution here, but I don't know what section the executive orders are in.
Right.
I know that an executive order can be overturned by a sitting president or the next president. But anyway, talking about the Supreme Court justice, Biden's argument was so incredibly weak. He's like, we should wait. It's like, no, that's not how it works. He's the president. He can.
Even Chris Wallace asked him, "Are you going to fill the seats? Are you going to pack the court?"
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It's like, duh.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, guys. Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution spells it out pretty clear. Trump gets to pick the justice. The Senate approves the justice. The Republicans have a majority in the Senate. She's going to the Supreme Court. Why you're even arguing about it? Like, that's such a desperation move. It's not even worth your time. You're going to lose. Move on. Move on to something else.
They don't quite understand that, you know.
Well, and you're telling me right now that if a Democrat was sitting in the White House, they wouldn't be pushing their nominee through like super fast. Justice Sotomayor comes to mind.
I've never heard that name.
Oh, that was I think it was Obama's first Supreme Court justice. It might have been the only one.
How many did Trump said it? Like I don't know if anyone fact checked that or not, but I want to say that he said that there was 180 open seats.
Yeah, I believe it was 180 that he said.
And it's like you had that entire time you had 8 years to fill that, and you didn't.
Yep, and they didn't.
You know, and to be honest, like I said, you know, I'm completely ignorant on why that matters. You know, but the thing is, I don't even know what they do.
Judges, they can lean your political way, particularly in the Supreme Court. But I mean, there's this misconception. So few cases make it to the Supreme Court. Like, you're better off to stack the courts in your favor in the lower courts. You really are. Because if it gets to the Supreme Court, it's not going any further. It's not. The Supreme Court's basic job is to make sure laws are constitutional. And it has to it doesn't go directly to the Supreme Court. It goes through a lot of steps. The Supreme Court is the end-all, be-all. So now, obviously, you want the court in your favor, but I think as far as America is concerned, you want an even split. You really do. Because I don't want that court stacked. I don't want Roe v. Wade overturned. Roe v. Wade, sorry.
Speaking of Roe v. Wade, didn't Chris Wallace or
I have that point.
Thank you.
Biden said first he said it was on the ballot, and again, I'm not gonna.
It's never gonna be overturned.
Well, no,
I don't care what anyone says.
Guy. Biden said it was on the ballot, but he misspoke. He was making a point saying it was going to come up in the court. But then Trump's like, that's not on the ballot. And I don't think it is. I've never really heard Trump mention Roe v. Wade in a contentious sense where he's like, we're going to overturn it. I think it's been mentioned like as part of an abortion policy. But to my knowledge, he's never actually said anything about overturning Roe v. Wade. I could be wrong, but I've never heard him say anything to that. And the fact that Biden went there was like, that's pandering.
Yep, absolutely. It's like...
And I think Trump responded perfectly. He's like, what do you mean? No, it's not. And he's like, not that I know of. Like, what?
Huh?
Well, even when Kavanaugh was going through that, they were like, he's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Guess what? Didn't happen. It wasn't even brought up.
This is what they do, and they literally. Okay, that point. All right, let's stick to that.
Yeah.
Let's beat it to death. You know, it's like, come on.
It's like, and I'm sorry, I think you're right. Roe v. Wade's never going to be overturned because they already had the damn hearing.
And it's hard to get people to come back for the same thing.
The case was ruled on. I mean, it's done. It's a done deal.
like, all right, new subject. Let's move on.
And again, here's the thing. Just because the Roe v. Wade ruling would be overturned does not make abortion illegal.
That's really tough to say. It's kind of like rut-row-raggy.
Ruggy.
Roe v. Wade.
Roe v. Wade.
But yeah, no, it's like, okay, that's not gonna happen. So, I mean, are you guys just like literally just you running out of things to say?
No, it's just they know it's a voting, and I get it. Like on the left side of the aisle, it's an important point in an election sense. But again, it's not one that needs to be raised. But I understand why they're doing it because they're trying to check all the boxes. You know, they want to get the female vote because they assume that all females are
Pro-choice.
pro-choice. Which, I mean, I don't even know the demographics, but they're just trying to check those boxes.
Right.
And then another interesting thing, because we talked about that, another interesting part of this, they didn't bring it up in the debate, but I thought it was hilarious, because somebody came into my job, and they were talking about it, and they're like, oh yeah, well, if they delay the election, Pelosi's going to be president. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
So, there's partial truth.
Yes.
Pelosi's not going to be president.
No, she will not be president. She will just be acting, right?
She won't even, no, not even that far. Here's the thing. What they're talking about is the succession of president, which normally, if the president is incapacitated, it goes to the vice president. If the vice president is incapacitated, it would go to the Speaker of the House. However, the issue in this one is if there was a delayed election and Trump had to leave office. So if an election couldn't happen before, January 20th. But here's the thing. Pelosi's up for re-election. So if there's no election, she's out of office too.
And with the current state of her, I can't speak. With the current state of her territory, I mean, come on.
Well, so what would actually happen in that case is it would go to the Senate pro tempore, who is a Republican.
I heard California is like on the verge of turning red. I don't know if that's true.
Well,
I don't know if that's true or
not.
not.
That might have been true, but I think everybody that would turn it red is leaving.
They're going to Texas.
They're Texas, Colorado, Nashville, apparently.
Colorado?
Yeah.
I thought Colorado's pretty blue.
There's I'd say they're probably purple in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
There's the People's Republic of Boulder.
Oh yeah?
I don't remember the first time I heard that, but I laughed so hard. Because I've only met one person from Boulder, and I was like, yep, I can see that. I can definitely see that. But, so yeah, I researched, oh look,
we're back on video.
I don't know if that's an improvement or not, but
Hey.
might have preferred the monkey.
Well, actually, we didn't see the monkey. Did you see the
sorry,
lines?
That's the greatest. I'm sorry, I keep looking at that. So that was the thumbnail we had?
What?
The Clinton.
Well, no. Our thumbnail was the monkey.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
people like the monkey. Anyway.
People like the people love monkeys.
Who doesn't?
I keep forgetting I need to talk into the microphone.
Don't want to insult the. don't want to insult the simian Americans out there.
Oh, I still can't
That's
get
an
over that.
joke for those of you who. Yeah, I feel like that one got crickets.
The joke.
There's like one biologist out there went, ah!
No, well, what is that? There's a Family Guy episode. The one guy. Ha!
Ha ha!
Yeah. Who is that? I don't know.
Isn't that Randy? I forget his name.
No. Well, on to. Do you want to finish on the debate? Keep going on that.
Yeah, we'll keep going here.
Okay.
We already talked about that. I did like the fact that he quoted Ginsburg to make his point. I thought that was pretty.
Who
savage.
did?
Trump. Sorry.
Okay.
To make his point about being able to pick the justice.
Yeah.
and
What
then
wasn't she talking
Biden-
to specifically to Obama when she said it?
I don't remember, but I did like how again, Biden was pretty weak when he was just like, "Well, we're in the middle of an election." It's like, yes, but Trump is president until January 20th. He's elected for 4 years.
That's
Even if
just
he
the way it is.
loses, he is still president until January 20th. Which I had to remind people. They're like, "Oh, if the election's delayed," I'm like, "Well, that only really applies if the election is delayed till after January 20th." But anyway, So talked about Roe v. Wade. I already said Biden interrupted first. Said just be quiet when he got called on his bullshit. Because literally, the first time Trump called him on his bullshit, he goes, just be quiet. And it's like, even with the eye roll, it's like, you want to talk about being presidential? You can't be in a room with Vladimir Putin and be like, oh, just be quiet.
No.
And that was what Tim Pool pointed out. He was like, I don't know. I watched that debate, and is Trump rude? Yeah. But I'd rather have somebody that was rude than somebody that's just going to be like, but he's not letting me talk. Can I get my time back?
Yeah. Well, they gave him 30 seconds when Trump spoke for like, what, 10?
Yeah.
I don't know if he got 30 seconds, but still, it's like,
Now, this is not going to be all pro-Trump, but because one of the things I did like, they were talking about healthcare, and Trump got called on it. He does not have a plan for healthcare.
Not
Never
at all.
has.
Well, the thing is, though, you got to kind of give him this, even if he had a plan. Would he get it passed?
Well,
with the House being mainly Democrat.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, but
no,
he doesn't even have enough people in there to vote. Just because the majority is in there, because it gets passed in the Senate, yeah.
Well, and again, it's not Trump. This kind of became a false equivalency because of Obama's role in the Affordable Care Act. It is not the president's job to draft legislation. That is the job of Congress. It is not his job to come up with a health care plan. It's not Congress's job to come up with a health care plan. It's not. We have a free market economic system. And if you really want to get to the root of what's wrong with healthcare, it's starting with the fact that it's not very free market at all. And I will argue that point until I'm blue in the face.
Free market will always flourish
if
better
it's
than
left alone.
Yeah, and the thing is, the state mandates, not mandates, the statewide. If they get rid of that alone,
and
that will help.
Trying.
Yeah, he's been trying, but the thing is, I mean, obviously, he, like you said, he does not make the laws.
No, I think he's trying to figure out if he can do that through executive order. Like, he got rid of the individual mandate, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, that was insane.
Well, that thing cost me $600. No, $900 last year. And I can't afford health insurance. You think I can afford $900 on my income tax bill?
No.
That I cannot get out of in any way, shape, or form.
And so it's like, okay, so...
Because unfortunately, he couldn't retroactively apply it, so I had to pay it for 2018. Fortunately, since it happened in 2019, I won't have to pay that penalty for 2019. But I paid. I'm still paying the IRS for that fucker.
That's wrong. Those should be...
It's totally wrong.
Retroed and...
Well, he can't, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's insane. That's what everybody was saying. Like, oh, it's a good thing. It's like, how is that a good thing? You're penalizing for someone who can't afford something.
Well, because the system crumbles if there is no individual mandate. Because if you can opt, the reason a system like that would work is because people cannot opt out. And I mean, sorry folks, that's how insurance works. Except that when it's free market, your insurance pools are smaller and you can voluntarily opt in, meaning you can choose what pool you throw your. Now, if you allowed the market to drive it, because pre-existing conditions is the big one, and I get it. Here's the thing. You're not going to have a perfect system. So what's more important to you? Is it and this is a legitimate question, and this is where they failed in healthcare, in my opinion. Because they're trying to take all the problems and solve them at once. And it's not going to happen. It's not possible.
Baby steps.
Well, not even... It's never going to be possible because there's always going to be a group that's... Or not even... I shouldn't even say group. There's always going to be a problem that doesn't receive as much focus. There's a saying in Krav Maga, or at least at my Krav Maga school, it's address the immediate threat. And we cannot agree what the immediate threat is right now. Is it cost? Or is it... It's definitely not care because you still get great health care if you can afford it. But is the immediate threat with health care, is it cost or is it coverage?
Well,
I would make the argument that it's cost. Because guess what? If you can afford to pay for something out of pocket, you do not need insurance.
No.
And here's the thing. It took me about 30 minutes to get homeowners insurance.
Well, and that's because...
because homeowners insurance is actually insurance. Because insurance is this little thing where you pay into a pool and you're basically buying peace of mind. But if shit hits the fan,
They've
they
got
will
your
give
back.
you money.
Yep.
But the reason insurance works.
You got a roof, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
No, I'm talking about your
my
your
old
other
house.
house.
Yeah.
You know, insurance paid for most of
Guys,
that.
I'm telling you, get insurance. If you're a renter, get renter's insurance.
Don't be an idiot.
Don't be an
Insurance
idiot.
is a good thing.
Get insurance. Get insurance. Health insurance is different because health insurance has become not insurance. And this is what people are failing to understand. And this is what we should be talking about, but we're not. Health insurance hasn't been insurance for a very long time. You should not need to invoke insurance to go get a checkup. Insurance should be if something catastrophic and unexpected happens. That's what insurance is for. Same with auto insurance. You don't use your auto insurance to fix a flat tire. You don't use auto insurance to change your oil. You use auto insurance when some jackass T-bones you from running a red light going 80. That's what auto insurance is for.
Damn, I don't think you're walking away from that one.
Well, maybe not. Somebody's not walking away.
That's a hell of a story.
Auto insurance is for when you hit black ice and T-bone a telephone pole.
Yeah.
It's when something unexpected and catastrophic happens. Now,
Tire goes flying off or something. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear, when something happens and you're going to call insurance. And it's the same conversation whenever there's a mild fender bender. Unless someone's psychotic, you're looking at each other going like, is this worth turning into insurance?
Yes.
Because it may or may not be. If it's a little scratch, it may not be.
Yeah,
because you don't want your insurance premiums to go up.
When I was 17, some jackass was at a stop sign, and he went through the stop sign
and hit you.
No, I was behind him. I rear-ended him, but the thing is, there was no other cars coming the other way, and he stopped. And so I
stopped suddenly.
I wasn't even at the stop sign to stop. I was like in between like stopping and the stop sign,
Gotcha.
But the thing is, it's like, why did you slam on your brakes?
So he started going and then he stopped?
Yeah, for no reason at all. And I don't know if there was a cat or something like that. And I'm like,
maybe
run that motherfucker over.
But those things happen.
Yeah,
and again, that's what we haven't.
But that douchebag made me call insurance, and it ended up costing me like $400 for a tiny little scratch. It was just an asshole, but I agree with your sentiment.
Well, yeah, but again, that's what I say every time I've ever had anything auto related that required insurance. It's like, that's why I have insurance. It's like, guess what? I don't have to worry about it. I pay my deductible, and I know what my deductible is ahead of time. Because I negotiated that when I took the auto insurance policy. I know what you know what your deductible is with medical insurance,
right?
But you don't know what your cost is necessarily.
I actually have a Healthy Indiana plan,
which I like.
Is fantastic.
Much better than Medicaid, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never had that. Maybe when I was a kid, but obviously I wouldn't know.
Maybe not. I don't know. But the Healthy Indiana plan is, and this is what people get.
You know how it's paid for, right? Solely funded by.
No, I'm not.
Cigarette tax.
Fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So I watched this killer documentary on it. I believe it was either on Netflix or Amazon Prime about prohibition.
I have no deductible, by the way.
Well, I would hope not.
It's fantastic.
But there's a great documentary. It's on either Amazon Prime or Netflix. It's called Prohibition. It's a Ken Burns movie, which means it's long as shit, but it's really good. I did not know this. Prior to the income tax, do you know how the bulk of the federal government was funded?
I do not know.
Consumption tax on liquor. And then when they passed... So here's the thing. And this is where I think...
You said that was prior to Prohibition, right?
Yeah, prior to Prohibition.
God dang, we drank a lot of fucking alcohol.
Well, we did. It was a bit of a problem. But here's the funny thing. So a lot of people attribute the income tax to the Great Depression. After watching that movie, or that documentary rather, I kind of think that the income tax, I think the Depression itself resulted from Prohibition. If not solely, it was a big part. Because so many industries went under because...
They took away all that money.
Well, and they pointed out, it's not just alcohol. It's taverns, it's saloons, it's barrel makers, it's farmers. who are growing the wheat, the barley, the whatever, because there's a lot of different types of alcohol out there. Shipping companies, distributors.
It's a lot of jobs.
Glass. That's a ton of jobs. So they took this thing, which I got news for you guys. The government doesn't know how to do shit.
This is why every single drug, and I hate to say it like this, because obviously you're going to have addicts regardless. Every single drug should be legal and sold, because the thing is, you can tax everything.
To a point. I think there are some substances that should be illegal.
Obviously, I'm not talking like homegrown meth.
Yeah, but marijuana certainly.
Marijuana, absolutely.
I think if the federal government legalized marijuana, you could do away with the income tax. They would never do it, but I think mathematically it could work.
Speaking of income tax, Donald Rainwater wants to get rid of the income tax in Indiana.
Well, hell yeah, you get rid of the income tax and you supplement it with consumption tax on marijuana.
The tax on marijuana alone, with him doing that too, and also why
do you think California legalized it?
Oh yeah, but
I mean when
California
they did that, I was
doesn't
like, well, there goes their, and damn, I will give California credit. It's like I said, well, there goes their deficit. Wrong.
Nope.
They found a way.
That's one thing that Democrats are really good at is
They're
spending.
They're really good at deficits. And Republicans are good too, federally.
Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely know how to spend.
They spend just, well, probably not just as much, but they're close. They're not innocent. They spend it on different stuff. At least they spend it on cool shit like Tomahawk missiles. I just said that Tomahawk. I meant Tomahawk.
Tomahawks. But no, also Rainwater, he's talking about getting rid of personal property tax, which I think is a fantastic idea. Personal property tax. Your home you live in.
Oh, well, yeah, no.
Not like a business you own.
Yeah, I know.
Which, rightfully so.
But isn't that how schools are primarily funded here?
Well, like you said, there's other ways to do it.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely
ways so if he gets in and, they legalize marijuana, the surplus from the taxes from that alone will fund so much. And honestly, just like we were talking about earlier, how schools are funded and whatnot, underfunded.
Well, now it's really goofy, and
it's because of horrible spending.
It's horrible spending, and it doesn't make any sense. So a lot of that money gets sent federally, and then it gets redistributed to the states, and I think that's asinine.
Distribution is horrible.
Distribution's a big one. So I'm going to present an idea I came up with years ago, and if any elected officials ever listen to this, feel free to steal this. What?
You.
Oh, no. No, this is a good idea. So right now, if you look, anybody, you can look at your W-2 at the end of the year. Look at you're paying the most money goes to federal, and then state, and then county or municipality, depending on what state you're in and how they divide it, if you have income tax. So, but let's assume for a minute that every state and every municipality has income tax, just for shits and giggles. Flip that ratio. So the bulk of my money, under my idea, the bulk of your money you pay in income tax would go to your local municipality, or city, or county, or however it's divided. Then the next amount, so your state would probably be about the same, but I guarantee you if you did this, your state taxes would go down because it's not being funneled to the federal government first. And it's staying within your state.
That's a good idea.
And then the least amount of money you pay in taxes goes to the federal government. Because think about it, it's just an issue of scale. If there's 320, I'll even downplay it. Let's say there's 250 million tax-paying Americans. If each one of them paid $1 annually in income tax, that's $250 million. And we're going to pay a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're going to pay more than $1, but think about that. It's $250 million if everybody shoves $1 to them every year. Let's say they do $1 every month. That goes up 12 times. I don't even want to start doing that math.
That's a lot of money.
That's a shit ton of money. And that's only income tax.
Well, how is our spending so horrible?
Because again, first of all, there's no accountability. And theoretically there would be, but again, these numbers have just gotten so big, people don't even understand. If you ran your household like that, you'd have been bankrupt tonight. if you spent money by Congress,
we've been bankrupt 5 minutes into this podcast.
Yeah, shit.
I can't afford my mic.
And we can't even print our own money because that's a felony.
Yeah, right. But they can do it.
I thought this was America, damn it.
I thought this was America.
Speaking of which, did you know that the Secret Service was first created to fight counterfeiting? They were not presidential bodyguards when they were first.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we didn't have a whole bunch of people around, for them to just like come and just assassinate a president.
Well, no, I think we had presidents that would shoot a motherfucker back.
Yeah, that's true.
Because wasn't it Teddy Roosevelt that got shot and?
Did he shoot back?
No, he didn't shoot back. Oh no, Andrew Jackson, he didn't shoot back. He ran after the fucker and beat the shit out of him.
Wasn't he impeached?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think Jackson was impeached.
Who was he replaced by? The second.
No, he was shot. I shouldn't say he was shot at, or maybe he was shot. I don't know. I just know he chased the fucker down and beat the shit out of him.
Good for him.
I know, right?
I didn't know that. It's like a little tip in American history. He ran and beat the shit out of the guy.
He ran and beat the fuck out of the dude.
He done RUNNOFT.
No, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt who had a speech in his pocket, and he got shot, but it stopped the bullet enough to where it didn't kill him. And he finished the speech.
Bad motherfucker.
Well, I mean, Teddy Roosevelt was a bad motherfucker. I think it was Teddy Roosevelt. I'm pretty sure.
Not to go all conspiracy theorist, but speaking of presidents,
I think next time I will wear a tinfoil hat.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, shit's gonna be wild. We're not always just gonna do politics. We're probably next.
No, we'll
one.
talk about other stuff. In fact, I do want to do one podcast where we invite one or two more people over and we just play Cards Against Humanity for 2 hours.
Dude, I'm completely down. And on top of that, we're also gonna do some gaming out here too, because I am possibly gonna get a Switch here soon.
Oh, I am going to suck out loud.
Or we could even get a GameCube or 60. Oh, I've got a 64. We could play some Smash Brothers. You know what I'm saying?
We can play some Melee.
The fan on Smash Brothers 64 was the most dangerous weapon ever.
And they severely underpowered it in Brawl.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't like the newer ones. But no, tinfoil hat. The JFK assassination.
Okay.
All the.
I don't know about tinfoil hat here because this is pretty shady.
Do you think it was the United States government? Not necessarily the United States government. Perhaps a shadow government.
Part of the intelligence agency. I don't know necessarily that it was, but I'll put it to you this way: I don't necessarily think it was, but I wouldn't be surprised.
He's a Democrat, right?
Yeah, he was a Democrat,
and he was also pro small government.
To a point for the time, probably not. But
I'm pretty sure he wanted to abolish the Fed.
Yes, he wanted to return to the gold standard. He actually signed it into an executive order.
And honestly, I feel like that was probably one of the reasons why.
That I've heard that from more than one source.
Because for one, you cut off their money supply.
Well, you don't necessarily cut off the money supply, but you create a system where you can't artificially create currency.
Well, you before 9/11, you heard about the I want to say, I can't remember the amount, but I believe it was over $1 trillion or quite a few billion. An undisclosed amount of money went missing, and then literally not even like a couple days later or however long ago or later, 9/11 happened. And that's why a lot of people think it's an inside job. Regardless, 9/11 was a horrible thing.
9/11 was an inside job. Because here's the thing: Do I believe the government is evil? In a sense, but I think more than anything, it's just inept.
Yeah, it's all gray area. Like,
I think there are people that come in there with bad intentions, but they're usually selfish intentions, meaning like, I'm going to go into government and get rich. But what are you willing to do in order to get rich? And that answer varies depending on who you're asking.
I mean, not to like go complete tinfoil hat, but Illuminati, the Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove.
I shit you not, man. That stuff is like terrifying. Have you seen like some of the like videos? This one guy, he snuck, and obviously it just sounded like a dude on a loudspeaker, and he's just like, and you heard screams and whatnot.
Well, I gotta say, in terms of the Illuminati, if they do exist, they're really shitty at hiding themselves, because if dudes are making YouTube videos,
well, that's the thing.
It's not a very secret society.
Where's the best place to hide? In plain sight.
I mean, maybe.
Now the thing
I
is,
have no idea.
do I 100% like believe in it? No. But the thing is, though, like it's a fun thing to think
It's
about.
definitely fun.
You know,
It makes for some great stories.
oh yeah,
If nothing else.
absolutely. I mean, hell, because you could be talking to someone you don't even know and just make up a story. That's how shit gets started.
Yeah, for
You know.
real.
But the thing is, though, like that stuff. Like aliens for one. Oh,
Aliens real.
I 100% believe in them. You know why?
I totally think aliens.
Blink
are-
182.
Oh my god.
Tom DeLonge. Seriously, though, have you been paying attention to him?
No.
Okay, this is why you should.
He's gonna lay this out.
And any of you. So Tom DeLonge has actually been working with some officials in the government. I don't know who they are, if they're high officials or whatever they are. Anyway, so they had a video of Kraft.
Oh no, I did see that.
And
I
the
didn't know
government,
he was
the
tied
government,
to it.
yeah, that he's the one who brought it to the government's attention, and
Really?
with all their whatever technology, I don't know.
I know they declassified a bunch.
They declassified it, and they said that craft was not of this earth.
Yeah,
and
it
it was
couldn't
not
have been.
man-made
well,
because of the way.
possible because
yeah.
of how it was moving.
And it's funny because the thing is, even though that was declassified and it was big news, it was still big news. Just
Well, yeah, because we're talking
Gone.
about how big of a racist Trump is right now.
yeah.
We can't make time for aliens. We
No.
got racism.
No, but the thing is, a lot of people think that like aliens are extraterrestrials. They're so far away that they're already dead, and it's like, well, you got to think. I don't necessarily think they're just like from another planet. I would assume they're more extra dimensional. Because if they were able to do that with a vehicle, well, space vehicle, whatever you want to call it,
Well,
craft.
that's some physics shit that we're not aware of.
That's my point. So the thing is, they've probably figured out how to jump between realities.
Theoretically possible for sure.
I'm not gonna go in any further on that because I could get lost. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, we all saw Interstellar.
Oh, that was a fantastic movie.
It did. It was.
I really loved it when they were on the planet.
The thing I knew I was gonna like that movie when they got relativity right. At least as far as my capacity to understand it, because I'm so not a physicist, but I understand the basic concept. And then when they were talking about the differences in relativity, I was like, okay, they know their shit, or at least they have somebody on staff that knows.
They did not just have a space movie and just say.
Well, and they weren't just like, oh, well, we're gonna go down to this planet and time shifts down here.
That right there was insane.
But that's relativity.
That was the craziest part because the closer they were to the horizon.
To the event horizon, yep.
Yeah, and and it just got stronger. And man, that was wow. That dude was up there for 33 years or 23
I
years?
think because they got delayed a few minutes.
Yeah,
That's relativity.
that's insane.
Yep.
Event Horizon. That's another good movie.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh my god, you gotta watch that. Sam Neill.
Oh, okay.
Jurassic Park guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, this spaceship, man, he's a scientist in this movie, and he creates a spaceship that can theoretically fold space and time and just punches a hole through, and he goes through and goes to a
So just creates
Distant-
an artificial worm.
yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, he has an artificial black drive in the
okay.
a black hole
Yeah.
in the craft. I can't think. Anyway, so the craft ends up going to hell.
Oh my god.
It comes back haunted. Seriously though, it's everything you would think. Like just apparitions, and stuff just happening, weird stuff. It's wild. It's a wild movie, dude. You should watch it.
Wouldn't it be something if we figured out?
Lawrence Fishburne's in it.
Okay.
Anyway. Oh, he's fantastic.
Okay.
Matrix, dude. Get out of here.
He's better in Boys in the Hood. But
All right, this is a solo podcast now. The co-host that has been shot. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he got infected with
Call
the
for
Rona.
backup.
Shit, what was I gonna say? I totally lost what I was.
Oh,
Oh, wouldn't it be interesting if we found out that like people who think they see ghosts and stuff, if we found out that those were actually extra dimensional aliens, like you were talking.
oh
about?
yeah, absolutely. That honestly.
Wouldn't that'd be such a buzzkill for people?
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, like how people they say they see loved ones. You know, what if after people talk about dimensions and how there are so many dimensions, like. I want to say I heard this one thing about 12 or something like that. Anyway, so they talk about how we're on the third dimension, obviously, but as you go higher, we vibrate at a higher frequency. So therefore, we would not be like a solid matter like this.
Well,
and so
you can make the case even
apparition.
Well, you can make the case even in this dimension that it's possible for matter to disintegrate into energy. I mean, that falls in line with Newton and Einstein.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I understand it, because I am not a physicist. So if you are a physicist, drop by.
Yes, absolutely.
Teach me some shit.
And what?
There's some college student that's going to be, or some professor who's going to be listening to this one day, hopefully, and just be like, these two idiots need to shut up.
He's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's worse, these guys' podcasts or the debate.
Like, oh my god, they just said Einstein.
Einstein's Rosenbridge. How about that?
Speaking of Einstein, back to the. We don't have to finish this, but I did want to bring up.
No, yeah, go ahead. I got.
Because you were talking.
Got off on aliens.
You brought up socialized medicine, and I do want to make this point. So, let's completely get rid of the financial side of it, and let's look at some ethics here. And here's the big problem with socialized medicine. And I'm sorry, Britain, I'm going to really pick on you. Although, if you go on YouTube and search Steven Crowder, Canada Healthcare, he did a video a long time ago when he worked for a place called Justin TV. It's a very enlightening video about the Canadian.
I've watched it.
Yeah, it's very good.
They literally were just trying to just be seen, and they went to several different healthcare facilities.
Ended up having to go to a private clinic, and they talked to one woman.
Pay for it.
Yeah, they had to pay for it, and they talked to one woman outside who, was it her daughter or sister? It was somebody. I think it was her daughter. Ended up losing both of her legs because they wouldn't operate. They had to wait too long. She ended up having to have both legs amputated, and they're not sure when they're going to get a wheelchair. But she could go to the veterinary clinic, pay $10 and get a prescription for her dog in 20 minutes.
Yep. It's wild because why? Because it's not socialized.
It's the craziest thing when you have to pay for shit.
Forced.
Yeah, I mean, so.
And what is their tax rate up there?
I mean, it's pretty high.
Yeah, but like it's not horrible. But the thing is though, like
I think their income tax is about 50%.
I hear that they're
I think. I could. I mean, I'm sure they have I think they have a progressive tax code similar to ours, but I think it's average close to 50%.
Well, I heard they're going. They're not doing so well financially because of how much it costs, and that's why they're behind on everything. And honestly, them doing that.
I mean.
Oh yeah, what do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's the craziest thing. It's like it's almost like this has happened before.
Capitalism, people. It's not evil.
Capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other economic political system in the world. And that's not disputable.
And he's not just quoting Ben Shapiro.
No, I'm not just quoting Ben Shapiro. I'm also quoting Jordan Peterson.
Or Candace Owens.
Or Candace Owens. And I'm trying to think of a liberal, because there are liberals that... Because numbers don't lie.
I can't think of any liberal who said that.
Well, I would consider Jordan Peterson a classical liberal. He probably leans more left.
Liberal and left...
Oh, right. These are not the same thing.
Yes. When we say left nowadays, we are specifically
talking about the
radical left. You know, because leftists back in the day and Democrats back in the day, they weren't evil. And it's not that they're evil.
It
you know what I mean?
Depends on how far back in the day you go, because I seem to remember some Democrats wearing white hoods and calling for forced segregation.
No, don't say
sterilization.
that. On the big great switch.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that happened.
I don't believe it did.
It happened, but
it's been debunked several times.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty hard to argue, but anyway.
Check out Ben Shapiro's.
Yeah, but of course Ben Shapiro's going to say that.
Yeah,
I'm confusing the shit out of some people tonight.
Yeah, they're
like, wait,
what's true?
No, he's like, wait, I thought you were right. No, not necessarily. But there's two cases that happened in Britain, and this has been recent. This has been within the last couple of years. The first one being Alfie Evans. You'll probably remember this. I forget the name of the illness, but again, this is all, you can Google all this. Long story short, baby was born in Britain, had tons of complications. Turns out he had some sort of super rare neurological condition.
They wouldn't let him come to the United States.
Oh, it gets worse than that.
I remember this. Okay.
So they were treating him, But then the National Health Service ruled to disconnect ventilatory support, meaning they were going to disconnect him from his breathing machine, his ventilator. That baby, and I say baby because he was less than 2 years old. I think when he died, he was 1 year, 11 months or something like that. That baby lived for 5 days off of that ventilator, and then he died. Now, in between that time, the parents tried multiple times to get the court, yes, I said the court, meaning the judicial body of the government.
That should not be governing healthcare.
They appealed several times to get them to lift their decision. And then they tried to seek treatment in the United States. They were not allowed to move the child. The father had an audience with the Pope, and the Pope supported this. The child was granted Italian citizenship so that he could immediately be let into Italy to receive treatment. The Italian government literally gave a baby in the UK citizenship so that they could cut the red tape. Now, why would the government of Great Britain stop this from happening?
It's a good question.
Now, I hope I'm wrong here. I really hope I'm wrong. But this is what happens when you give people power.
Government overreach.
Oh, beyond.
That's insane reach.
And you would think, okay, that's really sad, but surely that's rare. Well, I'm sure it's rare. It's not the only time. The Charlie Gard case, almost identical different illness, but almost identical circumstances.
Britain as well?
Mm-hmm. Britain, okay. NHS. Similar circumstances. Now, I will give the NHS credit. They tried a little bit longer on this one. But again, they elected to end life support, and the parents protested, and they could not. Again, and I think it was the same surgeon was consulted for Alfie Evans as Charlie Gard, because Charlie Gard happened first. And you have doctors that are literally offering. I'm trying to remember the details. I think he was supposed to come to Britain but was unable to travel there. But he did consult. The surgeon in question did consult. And ultimately, these kids died because the healthcare system decided to pull resources. This is what happens when you nationalize healthcare. And this is tame. And these are rare circumstances. Because I'm sure I've met people from the UK, and most of them say, yeah, it's great. But again, when a government has the opportunity to be malevolent, they will be malevolent. It's a matter of when, not if. And again, this is the nice kind. You know, you want to really see some shit? Go back to the Soviet Union.
Oh, yeah.
You know, go do yourself a favor. I'm not going to go into it. This isn't healthcare, but if you want to see where socialism leads, literally every time, Google the kulaks in the Ukraine. Long story short, these were the wealthier peasants, and I say wealthier in air quotes because they were by no means wealthy by today's standards. They might have had a cow. I mean, literally. And Jordan Peterson does a much better job outlining this in his lectures in his book. I'm not doing it justice, so I'm giving you the condensed version. Long story short, the communist commissars come into town. They find all the people that were worthless and bitter and, had no money. And they told them, well, these people stole them from you. Stole it from you. They stole the wealth, which is preposterous. They were good at what they did, and they were successful. So they made money. Imagine that. The people, if they were lucky, they killed them.
Yeah, that's what they turned on them.
If they were lucky, they killed them. They probably raped them and then shipped them off to Siberia, where they got to starve and freeze to death. But then you get rid of all these people that are producing most of the food. 6 million people, and this is an estimate. Probably more people died. 6 million people in the Ukraine died from famine. Because guess what? You kill the people that are growing all the food. And then nobody knows how to grow food. And then to top it all off, the people that still know how to grow food have to send it all to the state. It was a crime to pick up scraps from the fields.
Could you imagine if that was today?
Yes.
And the funny thing
It's
is,
called Venezuela.
I mean, imagine if that came to America. How many of these people that stop in at McDonald's, Taco Bell, any of that, do they know how to make their own food? Do they know how to grow their own food?
No,
Do they know how to
no.
go out hunt?
No.
I mean,
And
I'll be honest. I've never hunted a day in my life.
No, and
I could
guys,
fish.
and
I'd eat
guys-
fish.
And guys, that's called civilization. Because when you don't have to worry about growing your own food, you can worry about building cars, or building roads, or building airplanes, or flying airplanes, or making shit.
Yes.
When you don't have to worry about feeding yourself and your family by growing your own food and raising your own lifestyle, that takes some time. That's how, and that's why we have the technology. You think that we'd be making iPhones if we still had to grow our own food? Everybody?
Nope. We'd all be farmers with
We'd all be
straw
farmers.
hats.
We'd all be farmers and hunters. This is how civilization works.
It's an amazing thing. Everyone needs to just think a little bit more. What's going to happen if I end up going this way? And they're going to be like, oh, well, I mean, it sounds good
Well,
in
the
theory.
frustrating thing is I can understand why people felt this way and say,
Oh, God, Cuba. Cuba was horrible.
well, I mean, let's be real. There's so many people swam an open ocean on makeshift rafts to escape the wonders of socialism.
Yeah, it's so wonderful there. Bernie went there. I mean, do you remember him saying, bread lines are good? It's good.
Yes,
Standing
I
in
do
line
remember.
for
Bread
food's
lines are
good.
because people get food. It's like, well, I don't have to stand in line for bread.
It's
here.
like stand in line at a grocery store or stand in line to get...
Yeah, you think we'd love that? We'd get pissed off if there's 3 people in a line at Walmart. Like,
There's not a fast pass?
Where's all the fucking cashiers? I got shit to do. Game's on.
Shit. I always go through the
And
self-checkout. It
what's
take
a
10 years.
What's a loaf of bread cost anyway? It's under $2.
Well, it depends on what brand.
Well, yeah, it depends. Well, yeah.
You want to get Walmart brands? Probably, I think $1, $1.20.
Yeah, I think it's $1 something.
Used to be 88. Not
Yeah,
anymore.
I know, right?
Or no, that's Kroger.
Fucking taxes.
Damn it. Bread tax.
But yeah, I mean, and that's an example of a statement where I don't care what your context is. That's such an asinine thing to say. Bread
Yeah.
lines are good.
Well, that's just coming from a guy who's never held a real job. He's been in government for.
I dug deep on that because I'd read an article, I think it was.
Oh, I didn't believe it, and I looked it up.
It's not that I didn't believe it. I thought it was being hyperbolic. I thought Steven Crowder was being his typical self and blowing it out of proportion.
Have you seen the picture of him being carried out of a?
No.
Yeah, Bernie was he was carried out of a rally or something like that. He was it was the 60s, so obviously it was a little different then.
Back when I had hair.
Yeah. And his hair wasn't white.
That still looks the same. Oddly enough, all 3 of them.
Yeah, he I don't know. That man is so out of touch.
They didn't have combs in the Soviet Union.
Joe Rogan, when he was talking about Bernie, he's like, yeah, I'll vote for him. But then, he immediately, as soon as he goes, well, what his policy was, he's like, he just thought he's a good guy, which I don't doubt he's not a good guy.
Well,
Bernie, I think he genuinely cares, but he just...
I was going to say, I feel the same way about Bernie as I do about AOC, and I do believe their hearts are in the right place. They need to read some history.
Yeah. And...
because here's the thing, I can forgive people like in the late 1800s and early 1900s because it was a revolutionary new idea and it sounds fantastic on paper. Until you factor in human nature. And you start thinking about things like, well, if everybody's going to get the same regardless of how much I work, then why should I work?
There's no incentive.
There's no incentive whatsoever. And sure, it sounds great. It does. It really does. And I think, Karl Marx's heart was not in the right place because trust me, if you research that guy, I mean, talk about a freeloading piece of shit.
Totalitarian freaking...
Not even totalitarian. The dude didn't hold a real job ever. And his family was destitute for most of his life. For a little while there, he did okay, but it was always being funded by somebody else who was rich and probably got them. I forget the name of his longest partner, like business partner, not that kind of partner. Because somehow he got a woman to have sex with him and had children. The fact that astounds me to this day, but
he was nothing like
Wasn't exactly a stud.
No. He wasn't like what's his face? I can't remember his name right now. Khan. Now I'm not talking Star Trek. And you're probably like, oh, good, he knows who Khan is. Khan. God damn.
So they tried to recreate that in the new movie Into Darkness. And I was just like, ugh.
I wasn't a giant fan of the new movies.
I love the first one.
The first one.
The
was
other
really good.
two are garbage.
I still can't believe the kid who Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
The kid who played Scotty literally died. He was crushed by his own car.
Oh shit!
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he was something happened and his car ended up just rolling over him. You know, because he got out of his car, ended up killing him. I'm like, what? But Khan, man, from I want to say 14th century.
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Thank you. Or is it Genghis?
It's debatable.
I've
heard more academic.
Gangnam Style. But anyway,
style.
No, I mean, you said old boy was having trouble getting laid, and he literally fathered like 80,000 children or something. I don't know if that's true or not. But
I think the estimates are something about like 8% of males in Asia carry like at least some of his genes.
That's insane.
Dude,
that dude was busy.
I think conservative estimates are like somewhere around 800.
That's a lot.
Like single generation 800 offspring. How did he have time to do anything else? Like that dude had to be. Like,
he's a minute man.
I guess. Damn. I mean, he fought battles. Like he was there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Back in the day.
Like that dude was late for the parlay with Rome at one point. He's like, Where's Khan at? It's like, oh, he'll just be a minute. Be out in a minute. Go away, Dayton.
Oh my God! All right, we got sidetracked again.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I'll just speed through this. I thought it was funny.
Dude, just keep going.
I thought it was funny how Biden kept saying that it was Trump's recession because he did the shutdowns, but then he was giving him shit for not doing shutdowns. Which I think is part and parcel to the whole left right now, is it's like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because you're not fitting their narrative.
Like considering travel to China, how Trump closed off travel to China January 29th.
Yeah, he brought that up, and Trump actually said, he's like, you would have waited months, and I think this is true.
Absolutely true.
I totally agree with Trump. If they closed it at all, which, yes, they are that stupid.
Well, I mean, Biden has, a lot of friends in China,
And
so.
the Ukraine.
Yeah, and the Ukraine, and
and
his son Hunter has friends in Moscow.
I'm going to skip ahead to the whole Ukraine thing, because when that went down, I will never forget. I usually don't read like a physical newspaper. I'll read articles online. I was in a Starbucks, and I was waiting, and there was a USA Today, and I'm just thumbing through it. On page 6, there's this little blurb about how Hunter Biden is going to work for the largest natural gas company in the Ukraine. Right after we get into a tiff with Russia over calling in their debts for natural gas being sold to the Ukraine. Oh, yeah.
Coincidence?
No. And this is just after the United States just happens to become the largest exporter of natural gas in the world, which was great. I find it more than a little suspect that the son of the sitting vice president becomes head of an international company that deals in natural gas for a country that is at odds with arguably our largest, I don't even know how you would say that. I don't want to say adversary because that implies that we're hostile, but our biggest rival, I guess, on the world stage in every facet, and has been since the 50s at the very least.
Antagonist?
Maybe. Antagonist isn't negative, but it has a negative connotation. But I just find that more than a little suspect, and to say that that's a potential conflict of interest is obvious. But I knew it was going to disappear. But then it came roaring back. Do I think he got money? You're damn right I think he got money. Do I think he spent it on illegal hookers? You're damn right I think he did. Do you think he spent it on cocaine? Yep.
Do you know what put that all in the limelight? Was Biden saying that
Yes.
on public television,
Yep.
saying, oh, I told him, I said, if you don't fire that guy by the end of the day,
Yep.
you ain't getting the money.
Yep.
What do you call that? That's a quid quo pro?
Quid pro quo.
Quid pro
Oh,
quo?
I remember that when the whole impeachment thing was going on. I was like, because that was recorded, and that sounds like a quid pro quo to me.
I was like, that is legit a quid pro quo. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me?
And his son was president of a company in the Ukraine
That he had no
that
previous...
owes the Russian government an obscene amount of money for natural gas.
Well, did you hear just recently Hunter Biden apparently received, I don't know if it's true or not, it's speculation.
It's been unsubstantiated.
$3.5 million
from the wife
from
of the mayor of
Moscow. Yeah. And it's like, dude, come on. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't discredit it
at this
with
point,
everything going on.
At this point, it's alleged. But there was a wire transfer.
Yep.
And I love how Biden, just before even letting Trump finish the sentence, goes, that's been what did he say? He said that's been refuted, or that's been,
It's like, no, it hasn't.
It's like, no, it's actually still under investigation.
Exactly. And even speaking of investigation, Obama is his administration is under investigation for the spying on
Trump campaign.
Yep. And it's knowledge. They know it, and it's like, why
they were found out?
It's like, how is that allowed? Like they think
it's not allowed.
Well, I think they're Russian assets, so we have to spy on them. It's like,
that's the problem when you have legislation like the Patriot Act.
I don't know.
Because now all you have to do, Jill Stein got illegally detained for, I'm trying to remember how long it was. I mean, hours, because she was trying to get into the DNC, and she was illegally detained. Like, people on her staff said she was actually dragged into a van and driven away. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they were saying.
I'm pretty sure she'd be in some type of therapy if that happened.
Well,
that shit's terrifying.
I'd agree with that. That would be a pretty terrifying thing. But she was detained. They admit that, but they say it was a national security thing. It's like, you know who she is. Like, it was common knowledge.
Yeah, right.
Especially in the political world. You know who Jill Stein is. Is she a little crazy? Maybe. But she's not going to hurt anybody. Let's see. We talked about that. Trump closing travel to and from China did save lives. I don't care who you are. I mean, that's just a fact. When you restrict travel to a place that has an illness, you are going to save lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe Democrats would not have shut it down, certainly not as soon, if at all. Let's see. Oh, and Biden brought up the whole bleach in the arm thing again. It's like,
God. I'm so glad that you understand that, like, that's not what he said, and that's not what he meant. I physically eye rolled.
I mean, but anyway, like, I'm not.
Just inject bleach in the arm. It's like anybody.
No, he literally said it so just and the condescension that he had in that debate is why Trump won in the first place and why he's probably going to win again, because they think they have it in the bag, and they're doing the same thing. And Democrats have gotten so good at this. It's like, we keep doing the same shit, and we keep losing. Wonder why.
Change it up.
Wouldn't it be hysterical if they lost the House?
I think.
And way Pelosi's going, they just might.
I think it's gonna happen.
I hope it doesn't.
I would rather see, the thing is, like everybody's been talking, is term limits.
Yeah.
And honestly, though, but think of the new wave that's coming in. They're even more radical.
Yeah.
At least these older generations, while they may be radical, at least they're like,
but you can't,
I'm not gonna jump.
But you can't do radical change in a short amount of time.
No, and it's not gonna happen. Even if you have
a
whole
not
bunch.
Here.
Yeah,
I say that, and then the Russian Revolution happened like that. But
but regardless, though, even if something happens, like they try to pass something, the president has veto powers. I mean, and if the president tries to do something, was it with filibuster? Is that what it's called?
No, that's what they do in Congress.
I'm ignorant.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to properly define a filibuster.
What is it when
they're basically the majority of the.
That's what I was trying to ask you earlier. Was if a president has an executive order, is there anything Congress can do?
I don't believe so. unless they can pass legislation that overrides it.
So if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of that, that's actually kind of scary.
It is and it isn't, because it's not like the president could just swipe anything.
That's why I said checks and. That's why you're saying checks and balances.
Yeah.
There is a way to.
Well, and the president has executive orders to have a check and balance over Congress, because if legislation gets forced through, he or she can use executive order to mitigate parts of that, like getting rid of the individual mandate.
Yeah,
which and it also helps
was
with
a good
past administrations where they don't get called out of their bullshit.
Right.
I did also like how Biden could not defend Kamala Harris on her comments about scientists.
Oh my
like,
gosh,
that
was gold.
That was gold. Like, and he couldn't defend it because, again, he didn't let Trump finish his thought, and he's like, "That's not true," and it's like, "No, she said it." Like, and it's even worse than you think.
Yeah, that's one thing about you know, I'm not gonna say Democrats, but I'm just gonna say the liberal media. They don't finish quotes. They pick and choose and then run with something that sounds horrible, you know. And I'm just like, I don't understand how this is. I mean, there's nothing you can do, you know, free speech, all that bullshit. But
well, but you can question the journalistic integrity of somebody.
Yeah, well, for one, they're gonna lose viewers, which they are.
They have.
You know, it's like
they are. There's a reason that the Ben Shapiro show is rising.
Oh my
Louder with
gosh.
Crowder is rising.
So I mean, Joe Rogan is popular. So I mean, but he's not. When
even... did the Blaze become a legitimate news source? But it is.
I don't know. I enjoy it. You know,
I understand that, but
Blaze TV or Blaze Media.
Oh my
whatever
gosh! I remember when they first came about, and it was like they were even on the right side. They were a joke. It's like that's where all the crazy right wingers go. And now we got people. We got people that are going to the Blaze to fact check stuff. It's like that means it's getting pretty dicey out there.
Yeah, and have you? I don't know if you've noticed that some of the fact checkers have. They've been showing their bias, and it's like, oh yeah, you think?
Yeah, Snopes. I love how Crowder uses Snopes to fact check the liberals, and it's like even Snopes says, yeah, it's like, let's see. Trump made a comment that I kind of agree with, where the Democrats basically want to keep where they can. They want to keep it shut down until after the election.
Yeah, because it's going to make them look like they've solved it.
Well, because if Biden wins, then he can be like, "Look, we're opening up the economy." It's like, unfortunately, it would work.
Yeah,
it would.
But the thing is, though, like, I'm telling you, my boss said this, and he said that Trump got COVID, obviously.
Oh, yeah, he did.
But he said that he. Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier. I forgot.
Yeah,
anyway,
it was next.
So Trump got COVID, and he's going to come back on Wednesday, and it's going to be completely gone. You know, he's going to test negative.
Yep.
And he's going to be like, yeah, not that serious. He goes, I'm 74 years old. Like, as long as you take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
And
now, granted, he's got access to
the greatest health.
Yeah.
Healthcare.
But the point can still be made. Although I did find it funny that he tested positive after, like, the mask comment from the debate.
But the thing is, though, if you noticed, like, that he even said, he goes, I'm
he
not.
Had a mask.
He said, I'm not against it. He goes, I've got one right here.
Yeah.
And that's the way I am. I'm like, I always have one in my car.
One.
You know, it's like, do I wear it everywhere? No. But do I, you know, if I have to go into a crowded place, it's not necessarily, you know, and everyone says, oh, it's not for you. It's for someone else.
I don't wear mine for me.
That's my thing. I only wear it I don't
wear it for other people.
I hate to say it. I'm not wearing it for your health.
I'm wearing it for your peace of mind.
Exactly.
And because I don't want to stir shit up.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to hear you. It's I don't have a problem with it. Like, you know, I understand.
It's mostly I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. And, you know, the effectiveness of them, you know, they still haven't even.
Well, I actually saw a meme that made me think about it. Is like, are they super duper effective? It's more effective than nothing.
Right. No. Yeah, I agree with that, because the thing is, if you sneeze, that's a lot. You know, and
it's gonna stop some of it.
In which, like I said, I hate masks. I'm not for them. But like anyway. So I digress. When you sneeze, you're spitting out, you know.
Yeah.
Big balls of spit, water, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And even if you're infected, the virus is inside that, and everyone's like, yeah, but the mask, the virus is point blah blah blah. It's going to go through, but
if you're 6 feet away,
it's
from someone,
in that spit which gets caught in the mask.
Yeah,
it's not the virus is going out of your spit and fucking direct.
Trace amounts of it might be.
Yeah, but not enough.
Not enough, and especially if you're 6 feet away from somebody, 6+ feet away.
Not even 6 feet. Like
Yeah.
the wind can take it, and it's just going this way, that way. So that's why it's dying down. People are. I was actually thinking about this when I went into Walmart earlier. I was like, everyone can talk all the shit they want about America, but everybody dug down, and like, I'm not talking about the lockdowns. I thought that was stupid. I'm talking like, the social distancing, people taking care of themselves, getting a little healthier.
A lot of people.
Vitamin D. A lot of people are uneducated on glutathione. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Glutathione levels, it's not necessarily that like they're gonna help you not contract it, but the thing is, if your glutathione levels are depleted and you contract COVID, there are certain problems you can have with your respiratory system. But with proper glutathione, vitamin D,
it certainly helps.
It helps. It helps with recovery, and the thing is, you will not have as bad as damage. Now, I'm not necessarily I'm not a doctor.
I just played one on TV that one time.
I do play one on TV. They call me Dr. Ben. No, Dr. Bend over. No, I'm just kidding. Check out
It's actually pronounced Ove.
Ben Dove. There's a doctor on Facebook. I don't know if you follow him. Is Dr. Ben Lynch. I think it's Lynch or Link. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so someone said he's a holistic doctor. I don't know if that's true or not. He has a book called Dirty Genes. If anyone.
Well, if he's talking about genes, then he's not holistic.
No, exactly. I'm pretty sure. Obviously, he's not a virologist, but you don't have to be a virologist to understand how vitamin D.
When this was all happening, I was like, clearly people don't understand how viruses work, and I learned that in middle school biology.
That's what I'm saying. They're all, we're just gonna wait for a vaccine, and I'm like, okay, that's nice, but the thing is, what you could do? Strengthen your immune system, because that is your number one defense. Yep. There's no mask out there that's stronger than an immune system, that you take care of and nourish. Anyway, what's next?
I did love that, and I fact checked this. I looked it up.
Oh.
Early on, Fauci did say not to wear masks if you weren't showing symptoms.
Did you hear why?
Yes.
Because they were trying to save it for the medical field.
Which I get.
Understand. But the thing is, though.
But you want to give Trump shit for not wanting to incite a panic.
That's the thing, man. Everyone's all so butthurt about him. He's not trying to incite
But here's the thing.
panic.
If he did incite a panic, they'd be giving him shit for inciting a panic.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's damned if he does and damned if he don't.
And it's been that way from day one. Which is why I find myself defending Trump an alarming amount of the time. And I'm not.
It sucks, doesn't it?
I'm not pro-Trump. But I am anti-bullshit.
I like him. I like him as a person. I think he's fascinating.
I'm so on the fence about him.
He's
fascinating.
I'm not gonna say I agree with everything he says, because that would just be...
I agree with very little of what he says, but here's the thing.
That'd be asinine, but...
And Ben pointed this out when he was on Bill Maher. It's like, okay, is he an evil genius or is he a buffoon? Because you can't have both. And he said it about that speed. He's like, okay, is he an evil genius or is he a buffoon?
Bill Maher, something else.
I like Bill Maher.
No, I like him too. No. Oh, Bill Maher. I'm sorry. No, Bill Maher. Who am I thinking of? Bill Maher, the...
Slick back, silver fox looking dude?
No, I don't like him. Never mind.
You don't like Bill Maher?
Isn't that the guy that said that we need a recession to get Trump out of office?
No, I don't think Bill Maher said that. I don't think he would say something that's stupid.
I'm pretty sure that's Bill Maher.
Really?
I'm gonna have to check.
You might want to check and make sure that wasn't a joke, because he's pretty good at that.
Well, I'm not saying he meant it, but it's like, if you say it and enough people believe it.
Yeah.
That's a problem with people nowadays. That's kind of like how the whole bleach in the arm got misconstrued.
Yeah, but honestly, if Obama had said that, you wouldn't be hearing it. Well, no, I take that back.
Fuck no, you'd have a bunch of people.
No, you would have people on the right be like, oh, he's out there saying inject bleach into your arms. He's trying to sterilize people. But the difference is that would be on the fringe. That wouldn't be on CNN. Other than the fact that like they might be joking about it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yep. June 9th, 2018. Bill
Really?
Mayer. I'm hoping for a crashing economy so we can get rid of Trump. Bring on the recession.
I'm sure that was a joke,
But the thing
but
is,
I see your point.
2018,
I
not
see your
even
point.
2 years
I
later.
see your point.
I know, but what I'm saying, 2018, not even 2 years later, we have this virus that literally tanks our economy. Anyway, let's continue.
Trump mentioned, as one of the reasons why he didn't want to keep pushing the lockdown, he was mentioning things like alcoholism and domestic abuse. Well, Wall Street Journal of all places.
They're ridiculously on the rise.
Oh yeah, they go in and it's literally saying Biden's lockdown mistake.
I've drank a lot more.
Well, alcoholism went up, and then let's see, medical association, like depression spiked, anxiety spiked. There's a lot of stuff. Other medical problems have spiked because people haven't been able to go seek medical attention.
Well, and they shut down gyms.
Yeah, they shut down gyms, which is funny because a lot of people started working out at home. I actually lost 30 pounds during the quarantine.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I had started doing it before, but I'd say I probably lost more like 20 pounds during the quarantine.
I was doing good with the anabolic diet, but I kind of fell off. I've been eating a lot of wings lately.
Oh, they're so damn good.
I've got wings in there right now. Honey garlic. They're delicious.
Oh my god, they are delicious. But yeah, so those are all very valid points, and it's like, again, you have to run. You're not gonna have the perfect solution.
No.
So you have to weigh the pros and cons. And again, this is the Wall Street Journal. This isn't conservative news. This is the Wall Street Journal. They cite a lot of that. If you look it up, I think it was Biden's lockdown mistakes was the name of the article. It's quite fascinating. I could not believe how much some of that stuff was spiking. It makes sense. I just hadn't thought about it. So the whole Trump taxes thing.
I don't care.
Well, but here's the thing. So,
I would like to know if he was in bed with Russia or something like that, but you're not going to find that out from American taxes.
Well, no, you will, because you have to report that. But here's the thing. Trump hasn't released his tax returns.
No.
How did the New York Times get that?
Oh, that's $750.
They said they got access to his tax information. How?
Yeah, because that's illegal.
There's ways. There might be ways they could legally get it.
He's under constant audit right now, yeah. and the thing is, until they're finished, that's why this is why he claims that he hasn't released his tax documents, and he says that
under audit.
And you heard him tell Chris Wallace that he's paid millions of dollars in taxes.
Well, he has.
After Chris Wallace kept pushing the issue, and then it's like Trump. It's his personal. What is it with that? Like, have past presidents
They usually voluntarily show it.
Why does that? I don't get. Why does that matter?
Well, they want to show that there's not conflicts of interest happening. But
right. Okay.
But Trump's a different animal. Now, do I think he's hiding shit? Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a businessman.
But here's the thing, and this is my issue with the New York Times because it's bad journalism. It's unsubstantiated because nobody has fact checked what they found in this report. And Tim Pool actually pointed out, and he cited the article in question. In the same article, and I actually found the article, and I tried to go back and look it up, but miraculously now you have to subscribe to the New York Times to see the article.
Capitalism, baby.
After it came under some scrutiny, though. He pointed out that actually in the same article, so first of all, their wording is very loose. It says Trump pays $750 in 2 years. Well, does that mean... Oh, we're getting some traction here?
7. Yeah. Anyway.
So does that mean, did Trump pay $750 for 2 years or each year?
No, they said $750 between the year of 2017 to 18.
Right, but the wording was unclear.
Yeah.
At least as far as I
It could have been that tax season from 2017 to 2018.
Maybe,
$750.
Maybe. But then they keep going on talking about 2 years. So is it $750 total or $750 per year? Because that's still like an alarmingly low number, but that's potentially double.
Yeah, and just like you said though, it's like how did they manage to get this without legal counsel or asking?
They say that. Well, there's a Senate committee that's investigating it. I read that article today, which
Even if it's true,
that was Politico.
even if it's true, I can guarantee you that his plethora of lawyers literally just found every single little loophole.
And here's what people have to understand.
They made
and
the
again,
laws.
This is the problem, and the New York Times knows what they're doing here. He did not pay $750. That's not what he paid in. Because Trump, I'll guarantee you, he files for extensions every year. Because most businesses do. I know mine do. But here's the thing. You still have to pay what you think you're going to owe. You still have to pay that by April 15th.
Yeah.
And then October 15th is the deadline for extensions to get filed.
Does that go to the next tax season if you pay that?
No. Well, it can. You can elect to have it.
That's what I mean.
That's what Tim Pool cited. In the same article, it talks about how Trump basically paid in, I forget the numbers, but it was a lot of money. And he just said, keep it to roll over.
So you definitely think he paid in millions?
Oh, I know he paid. I know he paid in millions. Now, the question is, by the time he got all the deductions and stuff, was what he actually owed $750?
Oh, yeah, but like you said, I mean,
but they're not substantiating any of this. It hasn't been fact checked by anyone. This is literally the New York Times has literally said, yeah, here's the info.
And of course, Biden's going to run with it.
Well, of course. I mean, you saw.
Why wouldn't you?
Chris Wallace ran with it.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, man, who's he debating?
Yeah, Trump was debating both of them. And then Biden said he didn't do anything for small businesses.
Bullshit.
That's nonsense. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I have a small business. I got an SBA loan, and that kept me from going under. Now, it was a colossal pain in the ass.
Boger Cabinetry in Fishers, Indiana.
Yeah.
Or is it Carmel?
No, it's Fishers.
Fishers.
It was a colossal pain in the ass, and I had to do it 3 times because they kept changing how to do it. But that's the fault of the SBA. And considering the time it took them to roll it out, it really wasn't that bad. And I know some people got funding super quick. I mean, and there's no disputing it. Had I not gotten that loan, my business would not be open.
That's a obviously I don't know anything about those loans. Is that a forgivable loan?
I think under certain circumstances, but we did the PPP as well. That one is forgivable. No, the SBA loan is not, as far as I know, or at least we didn't.
But it was 0% interest, right?
I think it's 1. It's super low, and we have 30 years to pay it back. Yeah,
wow.
So it's like.
Yeah, did nothing for small business.
Well, and the thing is, normally I would say that
there were a few large businesses that did get it.
Right, but they got found out and they were told they had to pay it back.
Now that's the thing. You know, that's what people need to do. People need to realize that he was given. These people took advantage of a system, and when they were found out.
Well, some of them fudged the facts too.
Yeah.
So I believe I read an article that basically said some of these large.
Try to say it was Trump's friends and this and that. And
well, some of them were applying for it as individual stores, and they just fell through the cracks. So, like, you had large chains with multiple locations. They were doing it on a store-by-store basis.
Oh, wow.
Well, and I think what happened is because, technically speaking, like, let's say I had a McDonald's franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's mine. That's not McDonald's. That's mine. So I would qualify for that, or theoretically, as far as I understand the program, I would qualify for that because I am not part of McDonald's corporate.
Right.
But I think what was happening is multiple corporate stores were applying for it, and I think it was assumed that they were franchises. But then they got caught, and as far as I know, there are plans to get that money back. But normally I would say loans like that are stupid, except that this is an artificial recession, and it is directly caused by government. So yeah, all these stimuluses, they need to happen. But if you think for a second there's not going to be a massive tax, I mean a massive
You're
tax.
silly.
And I don't care who gets elected. If the Democrats get elected, if Biden gets elected, it's going to happen faster, and it's going to be a lot more sudden.
Yeah, then they talk about an 18% tax increase, and Biden already said he was going to roll back all the taxes that Trump cut.
Yeah, all the Trump. Well, and that needs looking after too, because a lot of those tax cuts didn't benefit Americans.
You know, the thing is with tax cuts and this and that, what they really need to do is look into government expenditure and actually see what they spend on stuff. There was I was looking into this one time, and it just I was taken back. But there was I want to say a meeting for an overseas I'm not really sure. I'm sounding like extremely stupid here. Anyway, so there was a meeting taking place with somebody, and they literally had wood blown glass wine glasses made, and they cost like $3 million for just drinking cups. I'm like, get some fucking red Solo Dolos.
You don't even have to get red Solo. I mean, you can get some nice shit, but I mean, that's ridiculous.
It doesn't have to be $3 million. The government expenditure, and the thing is, for one thing, this may sound bad, but actually, I don't think it sounds bad. Why is anyone who starts in Congress, or not Congress, I'm sorry, a senator, their starting pay is like what, 144?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it. I think so.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was one. She was saying that she can't even afford. She couldn't afford an apartment in New York.
She couldn't afford the apartment before her salary kicked.
Yeah, but then of course now she's living nice, which I'm not hating on that. Yeah, hey, she did her thing.
Well, but I mean that's a legitimate concern because I mean she was a bartender.
But the thing is though, she, $144,000 starting out, and all she did was just run, and $150,000. I mean, to just start out doing that, it's like why are they making that much money? It's like I could see like 75 or like 60,000. Like that's what I'm saying.
I think that goes into a lot of things. I don't think that's.
I'm talking a lot of these guys. Like
well, I mean the salary for a senator and representative is not. It has nothing to do with how long they've been there. To my knowledge, there's no starting pay. Like there's just that's the pay.
Yeah. Well, to get local mayors.
Yeah.
When a mayor, because basically mayors decide whether to give themselves a raise or not. I didn't know this. I know the ex-mayor, obviously.
Yeah.
You know who he is. I'm not gonna say his name. Anyway, so.
Yeah, but that's got to be approved.
It's approved, but the thing is though, that raise
but when you're
always
hands,
stays and never leaves.
Yeah.
And the only goes up and up and up. So the next mayor comes in is already that, and they can just keep going up and up. So it's like, if you really think about it, certain mayors of certain cities, they're making probably, I would say, hundreds of $1,000s.
Yeah, but they can't get too crazy, otherwise.
No, that's why I say hundreds of $1,000s. I'm talking like 200,000 or something like that. But still, $200,000, and yeah, it's a stressful job, but this is just what I mean. Government expenditure. How much do these people fly first class? Why can't they ride coach? Why this and that?
So this might sound really stupid, but I really don't have much of a problem with elected officials flying first class.
It's safer for them.
Yeah, that's the big one.
I get it.
And a lot of the times they fly private.
But why in the hell does the United States government not have their own airline for their own officials?
Because that would be socialism.
You think so?
I'm just kidding. No, it's called the military.
Yeah, so I mean,
a lot of times
I mean is like for elected officials, like them, because it like what we just said, it's safer for them to fly because there could be a radical who wants to end their life.
I would say I would probably rather than fly private more than anything.
Yeah, private's dangerous though.
True.
I mean, ask John Denver.
Yeah. But where were you going with their pay?
What do you have there?
Oh, I was just because I thought I knew where you were going.
I wasn't really going anywhere.
Well,
I was rambling.
It's not like they can give themselves raises, not directly anyway.
Not Congress or not them, but I mean I know mayor. They don't give themselves raises. They have to be approved.
Well, because the 27th Amendment. So basically, I'm paraphrasing again. Well, it's short. I'll just read it. Amendment 27. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. So basically saying your raise doesn't go into effect until you have another election.
That sucks.
Well, no, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And that was ratified in 1992.
If you don't win.
Well, but I mean, that's basically saying that's ensuring that a raise is due to.
It's saying, hey, you want a raise? Get reelected.
Well, what it's really saying is okay, we understand that there's cost of living things that raise, but what we don't want is to have you guys giving yourselves raises.
Yeah.
Which I would like to point out, that was only ratified in 1992. So.
Ooh. That's
a long time. That was a problem. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and it only took how many years into our country? No.
Well, I think that had been in the works for a long time. It just took a while to get the amendment passed.
Right.
This is alcoholism, from taxes, blah, blah, blah. Plenty for small business. We already talked about Hunter Biden. I'm going to skip that because that's not even...
He's a creep.
I did want to fact check one thing. Trump said that Biden had no law enforcement support. That's not true. He has about 190 organizations.
Yep.
Which pales in comparison to what Trump has. But, I mean, I thought that was high.
Well,
I was kind of surprised.
I'm glad you said something about that because also it's not Portland. I guess doesn't actually have a sheriff.
Do they not?
No, but there's the next like sheriff over or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
Right there. He said that he does not support Trump, and because you remember Trump saying that
Trump,
sheriff of Portland.
That's right. I did see that statement.
Yeah. And but the thing is, like I said, I don't know if there's a sheriff of Portland. I thought every.
Isn't sheriff more of like a? I don't know. If anybody in law enforcement is out there, isn't sheriff more of like a county thing?
I don't know. I mean,
is there a sheriff of Indianapolis?
I don't know. It sounds like we're talking about the sheriff of Nottingham or something like that. Like I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to look that up.
I mean, sheriff.
I'm getting a different wireless and mouse because for one, this whole setup. I know it's like more ergonomic and it's supposed to be better for your wrist, but I cannot type on that thing.
Well, speaking of sheriff of Nottingham, I believe the office of the sheriff actually first came about. And this is going back a while, but I think it was basically mainly tax collection and enforcement of tax law.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and things like fish and game, but that goes back to the days of royal estates and whatnot. Which makes sense because if you owe taxes, you get a notice from the sheriff's department. Just pointing that out.
I got served from the sheriff's department.
Dude, I've been served so many times.
Dude, get this. It was at the I gave them my peace of mind. Anyway, so they came up to the door and knocked. This was at the beginning of the quarantine, and they're all like blah 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 blah, and hand me papers, and I'm like, I said, this is essential. I said, you're doing this during this? I said, this is essential? Don't get me wrong. I'm in the wrong. I owe some people money.
Nothing
it's my
can
fault.
be more essential than taxes, my friend. I also knew COVID wasn't as bad as they were acting because the liquor stores were still open.
Thank you.
It's like, trust. I don't take anything seriously until they can't get booze.
And honestly, the reason they said that. Do you remember the reason they said they didn't close liquor stores?
No, but I'm sure it was bullshit.
Well, yes and no, because the thing is, you got to think of the people who are severely addicted, and if they didn't have it, they'd have withdrawals, and they would end up crowding hospitals because they'd be sick and dying.
Yeah, but that's the
alcoholism
problem.
is
it is
horrible in this country.
It is, and I'm not disputing that. But again, it's like it's such a slippery slope. But you have to draw a line. It's like when Governor Holcomb issued the stay-at-home order. The first thing I did was get on the website and check for the exemptions. It's like 6 pages. So I read that and I'm like, okay, well, this is bullshit.
It was basically
everything.
Everything was open except gyms and eating inside restaurants.
Yeah.
You could get to go.
Everything else was pretty much open, and then like retail stores, like at the mall.
Our mayor of Shelbyville, Indiana, which is where this podcast is coming from.
Sorry.
So our mayor actually wanted to shut Shelbyville completely down except for grocery stores, and that included restaurants. But what he did not understand, because he's also been a person in government for a long time and has
who is the mayor now?
Mayor Tom DeMond. And I'm not 100%. I don't know if this is factual, but I heard that he has not ever held a normal job, only in
from what I know,
local government.
I think that's true.
Okay, so basically what I'm getting at is he's never had a real job, so he's never had to worry about a paycheck. Yep. So the people that work at these restaurants and whatnot, or even just anything that was not deemed essential, like so that they didn't, they would have been screwed, basically, is what I'm saying. But those places that what about the people who don't cook? Like you got your older folks, like sometimes
people who maybe can't cook.
Well,
I mean, like, because they're
I get
older.
you. Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you would overcrowd the stores.
Well, there's
You would overcrowd the stores.
Well, I still
horribly.
maintain the most dangerous place to be during, COVID is the grocery store.
Yeah, because everybody was there.
Because on day one, people were saying, fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You
remember?
You can go in there now, and there's employees that aren't wearing their mask properly.
No, and it's like they got it down below the nose. I've
Oh, if you're lucky, it's down below the nose. Some people are wearing it on their chin. Like
chin
it's
diapers.
this magic talisman that I'm wearing my mask. Germs can't get me.
That's a funny thing.
That was the first time I actually said, well, these people don't understand how viruses work. I got my mask on. It's magic.
Like I said, if I go into Walmart and it's not really like busy, I'm not wearing it. I don't care. But the thing is, like, if someone's around, I've had people look at me and just give me dirty looks, and they've got it underneath their nose.
Yeah.
And I signal. I'm like,
yeah. Well, I am finding it hilarious because they're in town. And this is the only place I've seen it is here in town. But like Speedway, for example, like I'll go.
They don't say nothing.
Well, it's a sign on the door.
They don't say anything.
I know they don't.
I go in there all the time.
Nobody wears it. I'm just like, okay. I still wear mine.
Or the thing is though, this is another thing. It's not a one size fits all. You cannot have restrictions for Marion County, and they travel down to Shelbyville because the thing is,
I said that.
Our we have a smaller population. We're a little more spread out.
Yeah.
They're on top of each other. You gotta have.
Well, it's like I said, you cannot hold you can't hold Bozeman, Montana to the same standard as you would New York City.
No, and speaking of rural states, what was it North Dakota? They had, I think they've had maybe 5 deaths.
Well, yeah, but they have 5 people.
They've got more than that.
I don't.
But and everything stayed open there. Nothing closed because the governor was like, we're just gonna keep an eye on everything, and that's the thing. Everyone rushed to just shut everything down without just saying, hey, let's see how this is going first.
Imagine.
They saw Italy. What was it? Italy when they were barring doors shut and bolting people in their homes, and we've had more deaths than them by far.
Not percentage-wise, but yeah, overall.
I think totally, well, yeah, percentage-wise, I think total, they're sitting at 40,000, and what are we at, 200,000?
Yeah, but, you got to look at per capita, which sounds terrible.
But and was COVID the cause wholly, or was it just an added
Well,
thing?
The CDC did release that report
and
saying that not all deaths were solely COVID. It was a contributing factor, but again, you get into a problem with definition.
It was 1,100.
It seems well, I don't even know. I question that.
Yeah, it's tough to believe anything they say.
Yeah, well, it's gone back and forth so many times. That's when you get into a legitimate problem of semantics, though, because you cannot accurately say, and I'm going to go Rule 10 for the 12 Rules for Life: be precise in your speech. You cannot ethically say that it was a COVID death if they died but had COVID in their system.
Oh yeah, you like the guy in Florida who wrecked his motorcycle and died of COVID.
Yeah, which that was a case of one, but
or I can't remember this other one. They're all over, but they're just random things. And honestly, I think they're just mishaps. I don't necessarily believe it's people trying to say he died of COVID.
Well, but then on the flip side too, because actually my mom brought this up when I was talking to her about it. She was like, okay, well, but, somebody could be in there and died of pneumonia, but they got pneumonia from COVID. And I'm like, well, but that's why this is difficult. Because that's a case of, yeah, I would say COVID was the culprit. But what about somebody who dies in the hospital of a heart attack and just so happened to have COVID in their system? Did COVID cause the heart? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I haven't a clue.
It's a tough one.
That's the gray area. But and I'll never forget, and CNN should be ashamed for doing this.
They should just be ashamed of themselves, period.
But this one was particularly bad. They're advertising their COVID coverage like they were advertising a horror movie. It looked like an ad for The Walking Dead, which is an awesome show, but I don't want it on CNN.
Oh, it's a fantastic show.
And they
I'm rewatching it right now.
They ended the commercial with this poor woman who I'm sure was taken out of context. Just a soundbite saying, "I just hope we make it all out of this alive." It's like, really? And you know what you're doing.
You should have like 60 and under. You should be okay as long as you take care of yourself.
Yeah, and don't be an idiot.
Yeah. Don't.
You know, because now what is it? Some San Diego State or somewhere where they're not letting kids leave now because they were all stupid and went and got themselves infected because they were being morons.
Oops.
I forget. I think it was San Diego. It was some college in San Diego. I know because.
The COVID parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, though, a lot of them didn't even have any symptoms. They're just asymptomatic.
Well, right, but that's why it's dangerous.
Yeah, but the thing is, the CDC, once again, back and forth on it. They say asymptomatic people, or no, was it? No, World Health Organization, my bad. The World Health Organization said that asymptomatic people are not as contagious. It's like, obviously, because they're not coughing.
At first they were, then they weren't. And that's when I knew at least a big part of this was bullshit.
Oh, yeah, because who owns 15% of the World Health Organization? Bill Gates. Who has everything to freaking make money, off this vaccines and whatnot?
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm not trying to go all tinfoil hat because, honestly, Trump is big advocate for pushing vaccine.
Well, yeah, as you should. That's how you take care of a virus. But I looked at that as it was obvious.
Immune system health. I'm not anti-vax. No, my kids are fully vaccinated, and I have vaccines. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I don't like them being pushed through so quickly. That's scary.
You know who really doesn't like vaccines? Polio.
Polio hates vaccines, and that is true. Where else are we at?
That's it. We talked about everything else.
Boom.
I got 2 facts to research for next time.
And
how many people are still watching this? We're still rocking 7, right?
It's 7 playbacks.
Oh, 7 playbacks.
Yes. At one spike, we've had 2 concurrent viewers the entire time.
Oh, they fell asleep for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They're just playing it, But we've had 7 playbacks.
And now we're going.
I don't know. This doesn't really make any sense.
And now we're going to go into the relaxation portion of the podcast. Just breathe in.
Oh. We got people talking.
Oh, what? Who are these people?
It's Ben Kaufman.
What's up, Ben? We know this dude. What's he saying?
Ben, you're up. Fucks. No, he says first president to be impeached was Nixon. No, he wasn't. He wasn't the first one.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Andrew Jackson.
No, I don't think so.
No, it wasn't Andrew Jackson. That was stupid.
Although, thank you for
first president to be impeached.
Andrew Johnson.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Nixon was not fully impeached. He resigned.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
he was getting ready to.
I don't even think he was impeached. I think they were getting ready to. Yeah, they were getting ready to impeach him, but he actually didn't get impeached. He resigned. So it went Johnson, then Clinton, and then Trump.
Oh yeah, see. Look, he said Lawrence Fishburne is in that as well and makes a black hole pretty much till hell.
Thanks, Ben.
He's off.
Do what?
Those are old comments.
Oh. Well, still. I post-show thank Ben Kaufman for his contributions to the podcast.
Thank you, good sir. All right, huh?
I think that's a good...
Well, we started at 10:30.
Super long.
2 hours. It's 2 o'clock.
No.
10:30.
Jeez, that's insane.
We talk a lot.
Anyway. I figured this one was going to go long.
Yeah. But anyway, so...
But that's a good stopping point.
Besides all this other stuff, what are we going to do next time? I think we should... we don't even have to do it live next time. We can just record and cut it up.
Live is pretty cool, though.
Live is pretty cool because you get raw.
Yeah.
Raw. Monday Night Raw.
Raw. We want it raw. And uncensored. It's going to be great.
It's got to be huge.
Huge and raw.
Hey, at least we still have excellent connection. Average watch time, 41 minutes.
That's insane.
Who watched us for 41 minutes? It took us
40 minutes to bore the pants off people on average.
That's amazing.
That's good. And this
Don't worry, we're not done.
Yeah, no, we're not done. And you can come back and continue where you left off. Because YouTube's awesome like that.
All right, well... This is the conclusion of our first podcast. This is Average Intelligence with Eric and Jake.
And the monkey.
Or,
I'm sorry, the ape.
Yep. And you can come and look at our winky face anytime.
Oh, wow. I totally thought you said winky at first. I was like, hey.
Hey, I didn't restrict the viewers, so under 18 can watch this. So,
Yeah, so
we are
it's not-
talking about winky face up
yeah,
in the right
smiley
corner.
face there.
So all right, well, like, subscribe, do your thing.
Don't hate too much.
Yeah.
But we have thick skin, so let us know.
Yeah, we have really thick skin because it's huge.
Because it's huge and blah.
Alrighty. Well,